Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Breaking the fourth wall.
The
time is very late.
Guys, gals, and our non-binary pals, welcome to a very special edition of the Palpscast, I suppose, where the whole gang's here.
Woohoo!
If you're wondering
Here we are.
why Liam has wet trousers, it's because he is a big nerd and peed his pants.
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
Now, we had a sort of tea-related incident, I suppose. Liam was trying to be funny, and
He
that
drank
what
too
happened?
much tea and pissed
Oh,
himself.
well, basically, Alex told me not to slurp tea too loudly into the microphone, so obviously I did it as loudly as I could, and it ended up going everywhere.
this is why you should heed warnings.
Yeah,
So,
no, I never learned.
I suppose if people don't know who we are Palps. We are a band from Essex, and this is a podcast that we normally do between one or two of us, but everyone's here this week. So I'm called Alex. I'm a singer and I play guitar. This is Dan,
Hello.
our bassist. This is Liam.
Yes,
He also plays guitar,
I do.
better than me. And this is Hayden, who is our drummer extraordinaire.
Oh,
And this special guest is Boney Tony.
the first bass player.
We've been a band for a while. So yeah, this is a really special edition, which I never thought we'd be making, to be honest. It just seems like such a long time since we started the process.
Oh.
We are on the sort of a couple of weeks before our first album's going to be released, Black Heart.
Oh, yeah.
8 songs, 8 months. I don't know, like blood, sweat, literal tears.
And all sorts of other things that we don't talk about.
Just before we properly get into the songs and everything, there's going to be about 5 minutes of thank yous. We've got so many people to thank. So I don't know if you want to skip this bit. I'm just going to go through my little list here.
Yes, I will skip it. Thank you.
Okay, right, then, moving on.
So I made a list because I just thought I'm just going to forget someone otherwise and I'll feel bad about
List
it later.
him.
So, first of all, we'd like to thank all of our friends and family who have supported us all through this. Everyone's been very accommodating, inspirational, as you will. Also, this extends to people in bands we've met along the way. I don't know about you guys, but I think every band that we play with, this sounds weird, I like learn a bit of something about every band that we play with.
Indeed.
So every band that we play with, I'll like steal little things from them, and that sort of moulded us into the band that we are today.
Yes.
Our manager, Alex McDonald,
If he
Yes.
exists.
if he exists. So
could
we've
be a
never
robot.
actually met Alex in the flesh, so we've got a bit of a running theory going that he's an AI. I've seen him over a Zoom call, but I mean those AIs are getting pretty good nowadays,
Pretty
so
intense.
he was pretty convincing. But yeah, Alex is kind of just keeping us in check, I suppose.
Doing all the shit that we can't or won't
Yeah.
do.
I'll give you a prime example of this. When we first sort of signed with Alex, like he did our EP for us a couple of years ago, and he was like, "Okay, boys, what's your marketing strategy?" We were like, "I don't
What?
know. Who's gonna post on Facebook?" I think that's actually what we did originally. Was I think
Yeah.
when we released something, we just put one link
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
One link, one post, and
Did a
Yeah.
post being like,
Please
"Look,
look at it."
there's some music
One
out,
day,
go
a
listen
few
to it.
streams, and that'd be the end of it.
Yeah.
like,
Why have we not gone viral yet? So yeah, Alex has really sort of like helped us in that way to sort of like because I know we're like dumb musicians, we just want to play, so he's helping us and sort of be more business minded, I suppose.
Probably like the 4 least social media people you could possibly
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
nice to
post
have
like once a
someone
year
else
on
help.
Instagram or something.
Yeah, I don't even have Instagram, and I haven't updated my Facebook in about 4 years. So.
We are old, I suppose. That's like.
Yeah.
So we also want to thank,
TikTok.
in more sort of
What's that?
businessy terms, we'd like to thank Jade Perry from Memphia PR. Jade's given us some really cool opportunities this year to sort of like, we've just been in a magazine, which is pretty cool.
Hey.
So Emerging Rock Bands did a little spread on
Real
us.
magazine.
And it
little
arrived today, funny enough,
spread.
so I've actually got a little keepsake, which is cool.
Nice. And you
Um,
didn't bring it with you?
No,
Oh.
because it's my copy.
You really suck, McBain.
That's such a lead singer thing to do.
It was my interview. I'm not bringing it in.
I don't your grubby hands all over it. Liam's literally spilled tea before we started.
You can cling film it. I don't
Oh,
mind.
sure. I'll look at the magazine.
I could be trusted with magazines.
Alex is on fire somehow.
Oh, I ripped the page open. Sorry.
Next up on the list, Card Trick Music, which is where we are now. They're allowing us to use their lovely room for this podcast.
Hello.
It is lovely.
Also, this is where we wrote all the songs for the album in this very room, mostly.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
In one of the rooms at Card Trick. So yeah, thank you for allowing us to have the space to create the album, I suppose.
Yeah.
Next on this is Kirsty McEwan.
Is that Kirsty?
Kirsty features on 2 of the tracks on the album, and actually on a lot of the what do you call it, gang vocals and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So, and she's been so helpful in the whole process of the album. Sort of, she did it absolutely for free as well. Like, sort of drove all the way to Reading, never asked for anything, was really happy and enthusiastic to do it, and might I say, smashed the crap out of her performance as well.
Yes.
It's actually like the most successful song so far, which is obviously because there's someone who can actually sing on that song. Yeah, it's weird because I think, you know, we met Kirsty and her band Admissions, like we were actually originally rivals in a battle of the bands sort of thing, and it's funny how like we've become really good friends with them now, and her partner Jack are now part of the sort of extended Palps family. In the extended Palps universe, all the comic books. So it's weird how, like, I was speaking to my mum about it the other day. It's weird how, you know, people come into your life just really randomly, and then sort of end up you becoming really good friends, and then all these sort of things sort of fork off of that, if that makes sense. So thank you very much, Kirsty. That's been brilliant. Fantastic performance, brilliant song, and hope we'll probably do stuff together again in the future, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
The man, the man we have to thank, Mr. Jack Twiner from Pyramid Studios.
What a guy.
I think it's all our collective man crush, should we say?
Yeah.
So yeah, Jack is the guy who produced our album, recorded it, mixed it,
Put up with us.
put up with us for over a week.
Yeah. Which is something.
So yeah, so he
Something.
didn't murder us afterwards. Yeah, Pyramid Studios in Reading, like a great place to record.
Loads of beer.
Great beer selection. If you do like a beer, actually, on the quiet, Jack has a full stocked fridge of beers whilst you're recording. It's great. So I think that's probably goes into the first thing. So we didn't record it all in one sitting, sort of thing. Like Hayden went, was it like a week before or a couple of weeks before?
A month, I think.
Oh shit! Okay. So when you turned up to record like when we turned up to record like
drums.
the whole meat of it, then you'd already been done for like a month.
Yeah, I just sat
So you
back
just
and
like
got
fucked
drunk.
around for a week.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Go
I saw
invaluable input on the songs.
Yes.
Do
that
it
was
better.
shit.
Pretty much. The summary of it. You really suck.
Yeah, I think Jack's created it's quite a small room, isn't it? Like, I think when you first walk in, it's probably about the same size as this, and it's like everything in there.
Yeah.
But I think what I found is I get really bad, I think they call it like red light fever. So when you know you're being recorded and you can see everyone looking through the little thing at you, I get quite nervous and it puts me off. But because it's one room, I found like I was so much more comfortable.
Yeah, it makes you feel a lot more at ease, doesn't it? I think when you kind of got a control room and then the studio's over there, it's a bit disjointed. And,
I think what
together.
one thing that does make me laugh in there is that, you know, like we have to be quite quiet, and like in between every take we're all like
The quiet rustling
shoving
of
crisps in our mouth.
during a song. It's like
Wait for the really loud bit to eat your crisp.
But yeah, Jack, I think, is someone once again who we came across quite randomly. I just saw like a random Facebook post saying like doing like a discounted rate, and now he's done all of our recordings for us, and we're like so happy with how it turned out. Jack's like a good friend of ours now. He's so encouraging, and to be honest, the patience that man has is ridiculous.
It feels like he's part of the band when we're there, doesn't it?
Yeah,
He's just like one of us.
He's so encouraging and so enthusiastic as well. I think like I don't want to say, but I think he's got a bit of a soft spot for us. Like, and I don't know, to address the elephant in the room, that we've bantered about this a lot, but we've never hugged. Never hugged Jack still.
No, there was a moment.
There's
But it
always a little
passed.
moment where it's like, shall
Sh-
we?
Oh no.
But maybe next
Missed it.
time. I think we should all just go for it at once and just sort of like dogpile.
Gang cuddle. It's the polite term.
But yeah, I suppose just the thank you to Jack saying thank you so much for everything you do for us, for like your encouragement, for putting up with us and not killing us when we were all like, Jack, can we do this? Jack, can I try running my guitar backwards through this? So, I didn't like that. I would like to change amps now. Or just like the farting, the being smelly in general, like
Being late every time.
the being late every single time.
Yeah.
Singing stupid fake lyrics along to the song while other
I think
people are
he
trying
likes
to
that. I
play.
think everyone kind of likes that.
I don't know, the farting, I guess still. The constant eating, the drinking all the beers,
That's
being intoxicated on site.
That's fine. We're not driving.
I know it said the man,
But
the second, the man,
the second.
our second collective man crush, Mr. Arthur Walwyn, everybody,
The coolest man.
the
ever.
coolest man to ever have
He's
lived.
literally a wrestler.
Literally a wrestler. So yeah, Arthur was our director for the music videos. Who once again I contacted just randomly. Someone recommended him, and I think we did a photo shoot with him first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the
first-
Alien single, I think.
Yeah,
That's right.
and I think straight away what we noticed about Arthur, he's just the most effortlessly cool guy you've ever met. Like
Yeah.
he's, I think for someone like myself who's like quite awkward and nerdy, and I've got no sense of style or anything. Like I just I've got a pair of dungarees I wear every so often. It's like, can I wear these with a yellow hat? Yeah, okay. But then Arthur turned up the first time, and he was just so like impeccably dressed, and I think he was wearing like like a knit jumper,
Yeah, it's like a.
but it had a
cricket
huge collar
kinda-
on it.
yeah.
Like, and I was just like, if I wore that, I would look like a fucking prick sort of thing. And he just looks so effortlessly cool. And he's like one of those guys who's talented at everything. So he's like obviously really good at photography and music videos. He writes and records all of his own music, and he's got like 30,000 listeners on Spotify. He's obviously like really into fashion and stuff. He's a wrestler, which is obviously we're big wrestling fans, me and Liam. So that's like I think when
Big
we first heard that.
wrestling
But yeah,
I
he
think it was like, do you like wrestling? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm literally a wrestler. Amazing.
was really like,
Wow.
but yeah,
Even
that's
named
like
a song after it.
I think working with him, it made the whole process so much easier because we'd never done music videos before. So I don't know about how you guys felt. I was quite nervous going into the whole thing.
Yeah.
But when we were
Yeah.
actually on set, he was like, just be yourself sort of thing. And it was like, was this okay? He's like, no, that's great. Or like, you could try this. Or like, could you just, maybe go a bit harder or a bit less or something, or like a bit more facial expression. He just was so easy sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. Like, how did you guys feel like was you nervous about being on camera for the first time?
Oh,
or-
yeah, I hate it.
Mm.
Yeah, I hate being on
Even
camera now.
The first
Uh-huh.
photo shoot, I just thought, why are we doing this? And it was alright, to be fair.
Yeah, it
Apart
turned out
from
really
being
well.
about 4 degrees when we did it.
And parking
Yeah, I suppose
tickets
that's.
and-
I do remember some of that where he was like, "Could you take your coats off to do?" Someone who was like very quickly like, "Oh, go," and they're like, "Right, get your coats back on."
Yeah.
That's quite funny as well. Like, you got a parking ticket then, didn't you?
I also
So
got
good.
one.
That's so weird because I was parked in the space next to you and I didn't get one.
Such bollocks, man.
So I sharpied my
Yeah.
my number plate.
Yeah, that was one expensive photo shoot for us too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as much as I hate being on camera, yeah, Arthur did make it a good experience, I guess. Yeah, made it easy and less stressful than it had to be.
And really quick. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
one and
really
done.
quick,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, it's over.
Yeah, there's no like faffing around doing like 300 takes. It was just like,
That's
take
what
those
I was
photos, some of them
surprised
get-
at because I thought we'd be doing it like all day. Like if it was my go, I thought we'd be like, and play it again, and play it again, and now I'm
And
going to come
again
over
and
here
again
and play
from
that.
different angles.
Yeah.
But it was much quicker than that. He just kind of like moved around himself, and he was like, I've got
Yeah.
all the angles I need now, sort of thing. Yeah, and he's a really good director in that way. Like I know nothing about that sort of thing, but the way he was speaking to the actors, they knew sort of what they
to
were
do.
doing, where they needed to be, where they needed to look, and like I don't know. I don't want to go on too much about it, but he's just a cool guy. deserves every bit of success that he gets.
Mm.
I was about to say his single's coming out tomorrow. It's called Fawns, but we're recording this about a month in advance. Like spoilers. But yeah, go and listen to Arthur's music. It's great. If you need any band photos or music videos, I think we'd all can't recommend them enough.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a weird section we're going into because I don't think you guys kind of met the actors
Nope.
at all.
I
So,
know.
so yeah, I guess I'll just go through like my experience and what they brought to the table and stuff like that, and then we'll get into the meat of the issue, which is the album itself. So Agatha Nielsen played Rose, and Agatha was like everything that I wanted for the role. So I wrote the character to be quite like fiery anyway, but she's just really brought like a fire. And like I think we were there. You briefly came in, didn't you? When her and Thomas were doing the openings.
The Ava video, and they just went at each other.
It was amazing. I've never really been involved in that sort of thing before. Like I don't know, but I've done a bit of like acting, but it's not like in that sort of enclosed space.
Not
if
in
you know
that
what I mean.
environment, no. And like seeing them having a full blown argument and the stuff they were arguing about. Like if we've got any B-roll of that. Like
Yeah,
down the
I'll see
line.
if I can cut some in or something
Shall
like
we
that.
insert a little clip of it here?
Yeah.
This is a video, isn't it?
Yeah, because
And now
And
here it
there it
is.
It happens, yeah. Women they get confused sometimes. Maybe you thought you had a baby. Well, I think it's pretty shit of you, to be honest, because you knew how much I fucking wanted one, didn't you? You knew how much I wanted a fucking
Are you saying
kid.
I
and you
made
didn't-
it up because you wanted to be a dad and I just made everyone to
You
kid you?
didn't take the fucking time to just make sure, did you? And instead, you thought you'd get my hopes up, even though you knew I wanted a fucking kid, you knew I wanted a baby, and
wanted
instead
to
of taking
give
the
it to
check,
you.
and it is
You're such an
all your
arsehole.
fault. You
And
Oh,
there
that
it
was a great
was.
clip, wasn't it?
but like even thinking about what we witnessed when they were like fake arguing, it's like making your hair stand up on end because they were so in the moment in character. I think once it cut and like the whole room was just full of this tense energy.
Yeah.
And it was all just like, fuck, everybody needs to calm down. It's like, take two. And they're like, yeah, go for it. It's like, wow, that's really,
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's
really
almost,
great.
almost a shame that the audio's not on the obviously it's our music instead. But I saw some of the videos that you took from the thing, and it's would have been nice to have their argument there. It just
Like,
sounded
in it.
really, really intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird thing with Agatha because like as soon as I saw her audition, I knew that she'd be perfect for that role.
Mm.
And because the way we did the advert was it was just for both of the female roles, and then we were just going to decide who we thought. But as soon as I saw her, I was like, that is perfect. She nailed the audition. And yeah, just like brought such a fire and an intensity, but also like real tender moments sometimes as well. Like the scenes of them in I can't remember what it's called, Borough Market.
Yeah.
Mate, it looks like a holiday, like a brochure for something like a
Yeah,
a
come
Butlins
to
or something.
Borough Market.
Yeah, oh,
You'll fall in love.
and she just said that was like the first thing that we filmed with her. So she'd never met Thomas in her life, and just walked on there and went, but and she was like she'd known him all of his life. Was like really romantic and there's really cute stuff going on. Just amazing. Like absolutely loved it. Second female part for Charlotte was played by Elena Blishfeld. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. That's the best I can do. And just like absolutely nailed Charlotte's role completely.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm quite an inexperienced writer. When I originally wrote like the script, if you want to call it that, I wrote Charlotte's character to be just quite sad. She was kind of a nothing character, if you know what I mean. Like it was a bit
No
like
substance.
yeah, do you know what I mean? Like when
Be
when-
sadder.
yeah, when everything happens, she was just a bit
More.
like
More sad.
that's like the
More.
motto of our band almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when that first got written, she was just a bit like, oh, okay, guess I'll leave then. But Elena took it in just this whole different direction. I don't know whether that was like just her interpretation of it or like Arthur's direction or whatever, but she really brought like a, you know, like an anger to the role that wasn't there before. You know, like, no, why don't you love me? Why, you know, like, what have I done wrong?
That's cool.
And just like her facial expressions in some of it is like amazing. There's a bit in Imprint where it's like, still love you, even if you don't love me, and like she in that bit she just looks away, and it's just like you know exactly what's going on just from that little tiny facial expression. And I was just really impressed like with all the actors how they can do, because it's quite a hard job, because as you said before, a lot of the dialogue's been covered up, so it's almost like 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 Greek theatre back in the day where they should be like oh using masks or
silent film.
Yeah.
So like the fact that they managed to convey all those emotions is amazing.
Yeah, must be a hard skill to do that without any words or anything. Yeah. Facial expressions only. See, this is why we're not in the video.
you don't love me.
I am in the video.
He's doing a pretty good job, actually.
Like that.
He's doing like a sort of Freddie Mercury, like, and to the main role, if you want to call it that, in
The real big boy.
so playing the role of Matt is a young talented actor called Thomas Loon, who is just like, I was blown away. Like once again, I think as soon as we saw him, we knew. I think it'd be like his was. Would you say like by far the best?
Yeah, we had
audition.
quite a few audition tapes, didn't we? And
Yeah,
there was-
especially compared to the female parts. Like
I remember there was one we were really impressed by, but he sent in like a 1-sentence video. And then you asked him to do another one, and he sent in an even shorter video. It's like, well, that's
no.
you, Al.
that's I think that's what you shouldn't just go off like how someone looks, because I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he looked perfect, you know, like exactly how we had in our head. And then the audition came through, and it was just it's like we didn't get anything from it. And we had especially compared to the female parts, we probably had double the amounts of male actors come through, and it was just like trying to wade through them all. And there was like so many different people. There were like younger guys, older guys coming through. You know, just like varying accents, varying everything, and just like when I think it was Tom sent in this tape, and it was just so intense. Like his one was a lot more
like 5 minutes worth.
Yeah, I think because to full exposure, we gave like a bit, sort of like 2 lines of dialogue. I was like, and can you just improv off this? And a lot of people would say those, and they do like a couple of extra lines. And then it would be done, sort of thing. But he did a full sort of like back and forth conversation, almost like.
I remember we was watching it like right there. We just had the phone set up. It was all just like, wow.
I think, as you said before, H, when that was finished, there was always like a weird energy in the room. 'Cause oh my god, that was so intense, sort of thing. And that's just what he brought. He brought like because it's quite a dynamic role he had to do. He had to be angry, and he had to be like depressed, and then he had to be like super happy and stuff. So, and he just nailed it every time.
Yeah.
One funny story we had from the recording of the videos, there was a bit that I can't remember what it was. We had to do loads and loads of takes, and there's the projector going on in the background. It was just a loop of this thing going round and round. And Thomas had to sit there and just watch it going like this for like an hour or something like that. And at the end he was just like, my brain. Because he didn't break the whole time, and then like when he was just like, I can't see anything but that. It's like I can see it when I close my eyes.
Like Clockwork Orange type thing. Like,
Then he had to
watch
go
it.
back to the ship in and just sit there in the
Sit in
cold
his
little room.
It just comes on the TV. Like.
No.
So yeah, I just to the actors, I would say thank you so much for just helping us to bring what started off as like a bullshit idea to life, sort of thing, and to actually see it like on YouTube and everything now. It's just like incredible to think,
It's
it came
mad.
from like a little conversation we had all, I don't know, what, like a year and a half ago or something like that, and now it's actually sorted and it's out there and it's all about to be finished. Just like thank you so much. You all did more
You
than we could
smashed it.
ever. Yeah, just like amazing. Thank you so much. And that is the thank you. So sorry, that's a bit of a
I
bit of a
thought you said
tangent.
5 minutes. This like
half an hour. Wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I had to gush about that. So
gosh,
sorry about that. So,
gushing.
we wrote an album, and
Yes,
we
we did.
decided to release one song a month over 8 months, 8 music videos.
It's been intense.
Fucking hell, yeah.
It's been mad. Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm skint. But it's been
And what have you got to show for it?
20,000 views on YouTube,
Oh,
baby.
oh.
Ow. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where to start. Do you want to start like just song by song? Do you want to talk about? the birth of the album?
Suppose you start by the whole concept of it.
The birth.
Because there's an underlying story through the whole thing.
Yeah, so I guess to give like a very brief overlay of the album itself.
It's shit.
Thanks everybody. Good night. It's
No, only I may dance.
we were really lucky. So obviously we started writing it in 2020 when like we started writing it, and then obviously COVID happened, and that was a really tough time for everyone. But I don't know if everyone knows, in the UK, the musicians union sort of like lobbied against the government for musicians to be able to go to practice because it's considered a part of work.
Mm.
So I think we were all very privileged in that way. Like lockdown was very hard on everyone, but we had the privilege of getting to meet up once a week to practice, which was weird because we had like plastic sheeting in between us for a while, didn't we?
We had that
like
weird practice where we're like all in one corner, separated by sheets.
Oh yeah.
yeah, there was like there was like tape on the floor, wasn't there? To like so we
Tape
couldn't.
was like in a little box with plastic sheet.
But I mean, just very quickly, would you say that helped through that time? Because for me, like I thought lockdown was great when it first started, but then I really started to struggle. And not to get too mushy, but to be able to see you guys like my best friends once a week, that just really like got me through that period.
It was like the only time I left my house.
Yeah.
That one time a week.
It kept me sane pretty much. I think without that I'd have been a mess.
So like we're like forever thankful for that, I think, and like sort of helped all of our mental health, I think.
Definitely.
But just to say that we were like, that's where the album was born. Like we didn't have anything to do but practice.
And
so
I think without lockdown we might not have had the album because we were always practicing for gigs.
Yeah.
And then there were no gigs, so we had to write.
It's like quite a few of the songs, or a couple of the songs we had before lockdown, and I think had we not had those couple of months just to sit there and stew on them, and then go back to this like rehearsal space and be like, oh, I've thought of this bit and this bit instead of like I want to add this bit on into this song. Without that, it would have sounded a lot different to the final product we have now.
And just to give the whole theme of the album is it's kind of like we'll see as we go on. It's like semi-autobiographical for me. So the album's called Black Heart, and the reason it's called that is because I wrote it about the whole idea of it is you go through trauma in your life, and you go through spells of bad and worse sometimes. And for me, it ended up with me becoming quite cold and like not callous, but I was like shut off from people. And I think that's just like me trying to write about that experience, I guess, in different ways. And then it's a weird thing because we had the idea to do the music videos and the story before we'd finished the lyrics. So it's like in certain bits it's like am I Matt, am I Alex, like is this about Matt, is this about me? Do you know what I mean? It's like
we had the whole task of like trying to arrange the songs because some of them had already been written.
Yeah,
it's
we were
like trying to arrange them so they fit into the story of the album.
It's like going through them, like how should we arrange the songs is like chronologically in the end, but it's like having to Alex be like this song goes there and then this one afterwards is like that's quite cool and a lot easier, I think, once we had it in chronological order.
And I couldn't imagine it in any other order anyway.
No.
I think kind of, for me, it flows the way I would want it to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I suppose I would go through a bit more of each song, but I think we're like just in general. But I think we might as well get into the nitty gritty, if you will.
The meat.
So, song one on the album is can I just say just quickly before we get going, and if I could say directly to the camera, this album is obviously about a lot of issues. So like trigger warnings for anyone who's sensitive. There's gonna be like loss, death, suicide, mental health, anything that you may be triggered by. Maybe give this a miss because we're going to go into some quite deep stuff, and I feel like the best thing to do in this situation is just to be as open as I can, if you know what I mean. So just be warned, it's going to get sad, but just know everyone's fine.
That's what we do. We are sad.
We even have a
Sad.
song called Sad.
Yeah, exactly. It's our entire purpose as a band to be sad.
So yeah,
Laughing through the tears.
song one,
This is
Ava.
fine.
So I don't know where to start with Ava. So
It
this
started off as slugs.
I was gonna say this actually. Should we have a little section where we go through, because basically the way we work is we'll have a working
Stupid.
title, a working title for each song, and then we'll kind of like decide what the actual song's called literally the day before it's released.
Yeah.
I still don't know. We have to have set this with the working titles written on because I don't know what the actual names of the songs are.
Some of them have got funny stories behind them. This one doesn't, so I think I
It's
just
just slugs
here's a
from-
riff.
Harry Potter, wasn't it?
Oh, is it eat slugs, Mal? But then it developed, so when we were writing it to each other, it would be like spelt with a dollar sign and a Z.
Young slugs in the
young
house.
slugs. Which I feel bad about now because of the very intensely sad topic of the song. But it was before.
It didn't have any lyrics.
Yeah, it
at
didn't
this
have any
point,
lyrics at
did
the
it?
time. Just so everyone knows.
Before we knew young slugs.
Yeah.
Could you give us your best Malfoy impression, H?
My father will hear about this. Oh, I could do better, but that's the best I've got.
Potter. Eat slugs, Malfoy. So that's another triggering for anyone who has the phobia of whatever the sick noise is called.
or eating slugs, I suppose. That's going to be a phobia too.
So, I mean, any memories while we was recording this? I was trying to think. I think this is like one of the most fun things to do on the album because it's got a very heavy outro. So I don't know, like for us as guitarists, we literally got to like double track everything with like increasingly distorted amps.
Yeah, that was really fun to do. It was, I think there was like 4 or 5 guitar tracks each by the end of it, wasn't there? It's just really
I remember there was
fat sound.
there was one you recorded, and afterwards Jack said, "God, that's so heavy. That sounds just like a bass." I was sat there like,
We don't need you anymore, Dan.
We've evolved.
"I've been pushed out."
One funny story I've got from this is Hayden recorded a thing where he was just on the like he would just hit his ride bell, and the file was called Evil Ping.
Evil Ping, yeah.
And I remember listening to it. I was like, I had to text Hayden and be like, I don't like the Evil Ping. I'm really sorry. And I was worried that you'd be like, what? And he was like, no, it's fine. Like, it's too loud in the mix.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's what I text back, but really, I was just storming, man. I was fuming. It's like, fucking...
My Evil Ping.
Evil Ping.
No, man. The Evil Ping
Evil
makes
Ping
it.
stays. I just secretly text back. It's like, whatever Alex says about Evil Ping, just ignore it. It's fine. Yeah. Just do the whole
Did
fucking
the Evil Ping make the final recording?
It
Yeah,
is
it's still in there.
It's in
It is in there. If you listen very carefully, you can like a ding.
I guess you'll hear it now. Are we doing that? in this
Should we get like
Then
just
hear
that?
it now.
final? Yeah. Here it is. Okay.
I'm not going to get it.
Insert noise there. Oh, what? Do you remember that the outro of that song used to be in a major key?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's genius on your part because you were the one who suggested
Yeah.
it.
Because the whole song before is in major.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So-
the whole song's in D major, and then we wanted this big, really heavy riff at the end, and it just it just didn't sound right. It was like too happy, and it was like, no, this needs to be more evil. So
I'll try
So-
and find the recording because to play them side by side.
yeah.
It's mad.
Oh, if we've got like an old
Yeah, yeah.
recording, that'd be good to.
That was.
insert here
I
as
did
well.
find it funny that you were like, "Should we just move it 1 fret down?" So
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, just like change one of the notes 1 fret. It's now in D minor. I mean, it's a bit of a weird key change going from like D major to D minor. It's a bit jarring, but
Jarring,
but
yeah.
kind
It
of
works.
Because there's
innit?
like the little pause.
Yeah.
The little pause, not the pause that you wanted.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
make it 5 seconds instead of 4.
Just keep pausing, yeah.
Oh, I remember
Pause,
this.
Dun.
He's like, there needs to be a more dramatic pause. It's like, oh no, it's far too dramatic.
Yeah, it was. I got my wish and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
Well, I think
Um,
the original outro, we only did it like 6 times over, and then just listening to it,
Yeah.
like the crappy phone recording, it's like this has to go on for like it makes the song.
Yeah.
I think with the riff, it's because we play quite like noodly and we're all playing different stuff. That's the one time on the album all 3 of us just like nailing the same riff, and it's just so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost quite out of character for us, I think, to have
Yeah.
like a riff. Like obviously we have riffs, but you know, like a proper like
Yeah.
do you know, like because any
Proper what?
do you know, like any song has a riff, doesn't it? But I mean, you know, like I don't know, a riff in like a more traditional rock sense, where it's like a repeated thing, like
drop D, heavy.
Drop D and a half.
Yeah, drop D and a half. Yeah, drop D flat. Yeah, it's so much fun to play that, like when we do it at practice or when we play it live. Just playing that outro and I'll get proper into it. I like headbang into that bit too.
I'm conflicted about this song because it's obviously I really like it. I'm very proud of what we've done, but it's quite hard for me. So I guess like moving into
the meaning.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I've never really said this out loud in front of people, I guess, like in a group. But in the I said to myself going into this podcast, I'm going to be as transparent as possible, and I feel that will be part of my healing, if that makes sense. So I guess, yeah, to give you the full story, about 10 years ago now, I was in a relationship, and this is pretty much like the whole album. I'm not going to use names because obviously there are other people involved and I want to keep them protected.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's my story, so I do want to share it. Yeah, I was with my girlfriend at university, and things were very hard, so we broke up. And for some reason, like I got into my head that like I needed to be like horrible to because it was a bit of a, you know, like we're broken up, but we're still sort of together, if you know what I mean. So I'll never understand why I made that decision, but I was like, I need to make you hate me almost. So I was like, started being, this isn't what the song's actually about. This gives you some context,
the backstory,
and I feel horrible sort of thing. But I was like quite deliberately vicious to her at times, and I'll take that to my grave that I feel awful about that. But whilst this was all going on, I met someone else, and yeah, and it's just, you know, like when you've been in that sort of where you're not getting on with someone in a relationship,
it's like proper toxic.
Yeah, and then obviously I meet someone new, and it was just like a whirlwind thing. So it was while I was on Christmas break, and I'd meet up with them, and they'd be like, oh, you know, you're so handsome, and I'd not heard someone say I'm good looking or anything for like years at this point, because we were just like, I think, you know, when you're in that space.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously we ended up sleeping together, and just after like March time, I found out that she was pregnant. And so yeah, and remember standing in that room, and everything like was in slow motion for a second, because I was only 19, I think, or 20 at the time.
She is at uni.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I would have been just 20 when this, or just before my 20th birthday, perhaps. Excuse me. And yeah, so I remember standing there, and like, you know, it's such a stereotypical thing, but I was like, what are you going to do? So, like, and I said, you know, it's your body, whatever your decision is. And she said, I'm already booked in to get a termination. And so what this song's about is how, at the time, being 20, I was like, yeah,
thank God.
Because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to be a dad. And what it's actually about is, years later, I found that I'm just really not over it, and I did want to be a dad, but I was just so scared. And I feel like it's this weird thing where I feel like I didn't fight for them, if you know what I mean. I didn't say, oh no, please, let's keep it and we could do it together, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I've always been pro-choice, and I'll always be pro-choice, and I feel like you can't. I have to forgive myself in that realm, because you can't say to a woman what to do with her body.
No.
And that was her decision, and I have to stick by that. But it's about like kind of my guilt that I felt relieved at the time.
Yeah.
And how now I'd have a 10-year-old, if you know what I mean, and how I want that, and I wish I could meet them, if you know what I mean. And I imagine,
that'd be crazy.
Imagine what they'd be like, and what we do, and all the years that I've missed out on, sort of thing. Yeah, so that's
So was Ava the name you had in mind, or?
There's a funny story actually. Well, it's not funny. It's I found out. So I went to the university counsellor, and it turns out they weren't very good. So the way they said to deal with it, they said do whatever you have to. They said to process this. They said obviously where the pregnancy was, so it was about just like 10 weeks or sort of whatever it was. So it's quite late term abortion, really.
Yeah.
They were like, to process this, do whatever you have to, so look it up. You know that it was a little baby, and it was being formed, sort of thing. So it wasn't just like a little blip or anything. It was, and they said, do what you have to, like have like a little ceremony to say goodbye, or give her a name, or whatever. And I was like, okay. So we were sitting together, and we was like, what did you think we had? And we decided we had a girl, and we decided on the name Ava. And yeah, that's kind of just been in my head ever since, I suppose. And saying Ava the way I do in the song I know it sounds really stupid, but the amount of guilt that I feel, it's like my little way of trying to honour her, if that makes sense, just to say I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Just because if we were to play on tour, I could say her name every night, and that kind of brings her into the world. But I've learned since then that what that counsellor told me is terrible advice. Like counsellors since have been like, why did they tell you that? Because then it's like putting a very personal angle on it, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm trying not to get emotional about it, but that's what that song's about. It's quite complicated, I suppose, isn't it? But it's just about how I wish I could have had that, and I'm sorry, I suppose, that they never got a chance to live, and that's something that I'll have to live with, I guess. But yeah, I'm very proud of the song. I hope that's in a small little way, like bring some sort of, dunno,
nice little tribute.
Tribute, I guess. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
So it's not to spend too long on that, I suppose. So if we move on to song 2.
Ooh. And you're about to hear it right now.
So, Love Always.
Always. Love.
Actually, the oldest song that we still have in our set.
Yeah,
it's
number
so old. It's older than me.
Yeah, this song. This is the recording we sent to you, I think, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. We have like an old demo of this from about 5 years ago as well, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a funny
original
story. Like, not spend too long on it, but like, would you like to tell us everything that happened? Because it was your idea,
No.
and I blame you, Liam, for what happened.
Solely.
that
It was
day.
a good idea. So
It was a good idea.
I went to
In theory.
Surrey University and did a music sound recording course there, and they have like the best studio facilities. Like, it's on par with any professional studio. So I thought, being an up and coming poor band that can't afford studio time, I'll just contact my old uni and get one of the students to do it for free. And they did, but he was a bit shit. Left. We booked it in, and then he didn't. We were trying to call him for about 3 days, and he wouldn't pick up his phone. And then he phoned back and was like, "I was at the gym," and he was like, well, "Really? For like
3 days?
3 days? What's going on?"
He was jacked.
Yeah. No, eventually we did get in, and we did get it recorded, but he wasn't the best. I hope he's not listening to this now, is he? Probably not.
I think he did a good job on the day, but I think, was just inexperienced where, say, I'd do one take, he'd be like, yeah, that's cool. I was like, do you not want me to do another one? No, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's an interesting experience. And we didn't have a bass player, so the mysterious bird boy.
Who was that?
I don't know. No one knows. But
is he?
filled in for bass duties.
Yeah. I think I literally wrote the bass line for that like the night before we went to it. Yeah. It was all right though. We did that, and there was another song, but I can't
Called
remember
Herpes.
Yeah, it
The
was
song's called
Herpes. Yeah.
It's, I swear it's not Herpes.
How different is the bass line now, Dan, to what we sent you originally?
I don't want to shit on the recording, but I didn't realise there was bass on it.
Oh, was that good?
Because like you sent me the SoundCloud link, and I've listened to it on my laptop. So like, yeah, not the best speakers, but I thought, okay, they don't have a bassist, so that's like,
There you go.
and like, yeah, so I just played something else.
Yeah. It's
It's much
Sounds
better
great
now.
now.
Thank you.
Yeah, we also had an original music video to this as well somewhere.
Oh yeah.
It's I think you can still find it on Facebook by our friend Bryn.
Yeah, it was just
um,
we played a gig and he just brought his camera and did the whole thing.
And it's like, yeah, have a music video.
Which is, I mean, kudos to Bryn because he was pissed on Buckfast when he did that. So, like, God knows how he actually managed to put all that together.
Give me fuel, give me fire.
Oh yeah, there's a weird clip of me pissed at the end,
Yeah.
singing Metallica at a gas station. Gas station? I'm not
Gas
American.
station.
Gas
Petrol station.
Oh, we're out of gas.
Gas. I was talking about Metallica and I just think of America. Yeah.
So the working title for this, for Love Always, was
Sick Outro.
which I'm pretty sure still comes up on our set list.
Yeah.
Like
it
all the
does.
time, because
Why was it called? Was it just that we needed
because
to have
we
a?
didn't write the outro. It's like,
So it's like a placeholder. Need to have sick outro
yeah,
here.
it's gonna be so sick, man.
Yeah, we sort of played the rest of the song and then we just stopped and we're like, right, it needs something at the end. It just needs a really sick outro.
Really sick.
But it didn't exist. So.
Yeah, so-
Would you say it's a sick outro now?
yeah, you know,
It's
it's
pretty
a
good,
it's a
actually, yeah.
guitar solo. There's
Like
You
the
know.
sort of the Palps choir.
the
Yeah.
Palps choir, yeah, you know, it
It's
all
kind of-
kicks off.
Yeah. The outro is just like the chorus, but a bit with more stuff going on.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
So,
Amorous.
yeah.
More.
yeah. Yeah, it's just I don't know, an elaborate chorus to end it
Yeah.
all. But it's
I think like when we wrote it, we weren't really. I think we were still gunning to be like a pop punk outfit at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
So that was kind of as I don't know, a post-hardcore.
That's how we suckered Dan in because he's like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?"
Yeah,
It's like,
I
yeah, come on, be
answered-
pop
It
punk.
changed
I
about
answered
3
an ad
weeks
for a
after
pop
that.
punk band, and then here we are.
It's like, yeah, but depressing.
It's weird with this song because I think I wrote the lyrics for this or bits of lyrics and themes for this before we'd even written this song. It's like bits from my old lyrics book sort of things. It's like little bits and bobs,
Yeah.
and it just sort of managed to squeeze that in here, I suppose. So I don't unless you've got any more memories of that to go into what this song is about.
Yeah.
This is about what I was saying before, where I was living with my original partner. And just to clarify that we did love each other very much. It's just, being at uni and trying to pay for stuff and, just living on top of each other, where you've got that financial strain, it's just impossible to have a healthy relationship, I think. And we weren't very good at communicating sort of thing, so it just turned toxic. And that's when, obviously, being stupid and young, I was like, I don't know. It's weird because in a way, when we broke up, we broke up. That was fine. But then because we were sort of almost always nearly getting back together, I was I have to make you hate me so you don't want to be with me anymore. And it's more complicated than that, but that's the best way I can rationalise at the time. And that's after a lot of thinking. So it's not like I was trying to do her a favour, but I was like, I have to do that to actually finish this, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's just about me deliberately being horrible, and I'll obviously feel terrible about that for the rest of my life. And how I'm still trying to cope with being that terrible person now, and I don't know how to rationalize it. So it's, the reason, the chorus is
Tell me it's still worth the fight.
yeah. So it's in my dreams you hold me and tell me it's fine. So I have a reoccurring dream, even now, all the time, and there's 2 versions of the same dream. So one of these is my old partner will be hugging me, and we'll hug it out, and she'll say, "I forgive you," and it wasn't your fault, blah blah blah, and I'll wake up and I'll be like, "Oh, feel really good," sort of thing, or kind of a good but sad because that didn't actually happen. Just have that closure on it.
So it's like reading most of a book and then not finishing it, basically. So you're
Yeah.
stuck imagining that last chapter.
Just
That-
obviously it's very personal stuff, and I don't want to get too much away because, as I say, there's other people involved. But when I got with this new person who I went through all the child loss stuff with,
Yeah.
that was very hard for my ex-partner, and there was some really bad depressive spells and like kind of I don't know how to say it without giving it away, you know, like self-harm issues, should we say.
Deep blinds.
And that, yeah, like deep blinds that's where that comes from. And I obviously that is just like I have nightmares about it constantly because, you know, like I, not on purpose, but I caused her to feel like that and caused her to do that. So that's the other dream that I have, is the opposite, the first one. So I'll see her and she'll be like screaming at me like, look at what you did, and she'll like show me the self-harm scars.
Jesus.
And I wake up, and I always wake up in a sweat like and I sort of have to be like
That's like a horror film type thing. Does it change depending on whether you've had a good or a bad day? Do you get
it's
the
kind
good
of it's
version?
kind of random, to be honest. I don't know, I mean, like, not that I've noticed, but it could be whatever headspace I'm in, or like
Yeah,
if
I'm
that makes sense.
I'm interested. I wonder whether it's like if you're in a good mood, you'll get the good version, and if you've got bad things on your mind, you get the bad version. Just always interested in
Yeah.
And
dreams.
if there's anyone who understands like dreams and shit, like, is there a way
Yeah,
to
yeah,
cure
so
I
this?
don't think anybody understands dreams. Honestly.
Freud.
No. People say they do, and they're like, "Oh, this means I think it's just random." The mind, nobody can understand it. Deep, man.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
don't.
sorry,
I don't want to paint
conscious
myself out
growth.
to be like a comic book villain, if you know what I mean. But I was like young and stupid, and you know when you just say things,
Malicious without.
yeah, and because you're dumb and you're arguing and stuff, and that's
Yeah.
like I just feel so terrible about the whole thing, and I know I'll never be able to make it right or make it up to this person. And the best thing I can do is stay out of their life, sort of thing, and try and learn and try and grow. And I hope I've done that now, sort of thing. So if we ever did have a talk, I don't know. Does that make sense? You know, I could say like I have changed, and that's because I can't take back what I've done to you, but I can try and grow and be a better person. And I hope I've done that, sort of thing. I think that's all I can do in that situation, sort of thing. But yeah, that's love always.
Which leads us straight into
Consequences.
Big balls, man.
Big balls,
Liam.
man.
big balls, man.
So
The big balls, man.
to,
That even come
to give you so this
BBM.
won't make any sense. You
Don't
would have
even
heard the
know.
clip of us playing it.
Is it
there-
some wrestling?
Yeah,
bollocks?
so there's a
Boss
wrestler
Man
called the Big
is,
Boss
yes.
Man, and there is a there's an announcer in the 90s called Howard Finkel, and I think me and Liam were laughing about a clip where he pronounces his name funny. He goes, "Coming to the ring, the Big Boss Man,"
right.
and I don't know how that evolved into
Big
Balls
boss
Man. but-
balls man. Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. But it did, and that's
Yeah,
how
So
the
it, that
title came
ended
to
up with
be.
all of us going like the Big Balls Man, and even now it's like shortened down so it could be like the.
The big
That's what I mean. It's got to that point. where-
balls, man.
And you know what we're talking about.
If someone goes like the, which is weird how like a joke like evolves like that.
Can you think of any other jokes that evolved like that?
I can think of some which I won't name here. But
Oh, move back.
Oh, just have to get one in.
Stop it.
And move on now.
Anyway, so big balls. Consequences.
Yeah,
Consequence, yeah.
So this is obviously like the song that Kirsty features on as well, and I thought it was funny when we was in the studio. She came in and like smashed it out in like three or four takes. Yeah. And she did 3 really good ones. And she was like, "Oh, do you want any more?" I was like, "Could you just do like a really fucking horrible, spiteful one?" And that's the one we used in the end, I think,
Yeah.
because she was really just like,
It's
So
like
there's,
a couple of tweaks, but it was
Yeah.
it
was
was
gonna s-
perfect.
I was going to say, what's the story behind having a second vocal part in this song? There's a reason for it, is there not?
There is, yeah. So the reason behind having a second part, I wanted it to be very much carrying on, like flowing from the second song into the third song, where obviously I write all of these songs about, you know, like woe is me because I've done bad things, and I think especially in our genre, there's a lot of stuff like that, where it's
Yeah.
just like,
Mm.
I'm sorry that I hurt you, please love me again.
Where are you?
But there is a reason that person isn't with you anymore, and I think you have to kind of like own up to being the villain sometimes, if you know what I mean. And that's how you grow, and that's how you change over time. So yeah, this is about like that, how people write these songs and like it's their fault. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but of course they don't talk to you anymore if you've done these things to them. So I wanted it to be like a bouncing off each other sort of thing, where I don't know. I wrote the original lyrics to be kind of cringy, like on purpose. But now I'm worried that they're just cringy. You know what I mean?
dunno.
And people aren't going to get the sort of, without listening to this, they're not going to know. Because it's, you know, a guy saying like, you know, I drink too much and I spill my soul to you, and it's like, I know I can make this right, sort of. If that makes sense. And then Kirsty's like, you know, it may not be your fault, but I fucking hate you. Fuck off. Like, and what it is, it's like you're looking for redemption in someone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to think about, what does the other person want? They're like, but you know, you don't love me. You're just looking to feel better about this situation that you caused. So
Yeah.
that's what that song's about, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, I had an interview with someone yesterday, and they were saying about the bass in this song, and Dan would have loved it.
Boo boo doo. Boo 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 boo.
So they were saying like the bass is almost like its own like character, and it really like sets the tone for this
Ooh,
song. And I thought that
nice.
was quite interesting,
That's a
how
nice
someone could
take
take
on it,
that like just that like bass. It's like they said it just went so well with the video, and it was almost like setting the scene that was happening, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I suppose like can we go through some of the music videos? Maybe like so like I meant to do it at the end of each of these sections. So just quickly blast through the first two. In the first one, Matt and Rose find out that they're pregnant. End up it's heavily implied that they lose the baby, and then
he
their
chucks the photo.
their relationship turns toxic. And he says something to her which is so bad that she moves out.
Which we heard, and it is horrible.
And it is horrible, which I won't repeat here. The second
Insert B-roll.
second video is sort of him realising he's been a bastard, and then like looking at loads of memories of them.
The pizza boxes.
And eating sandwiches.
And eating
That sandwich box isn't right.
Then consequences is like him thinking like, you know, if I improve myself, if I get back out running, if I clean my flat up, then she'll love me again, and she'll see how much of a better person I've become.
Yeah. And
If
then
that-
she's just like, nah, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Do
point
you know
of-
what I mean? But she's like, no, it doesn't matter. That's not the problem. It wasn't that your room's messy or whatever. It wasn't that you're depressed. It was your.
Reactions and your
Yeah.
choices.
So like, it doesn't matter how
And
much
the
you improve yourself.
consequences.
Whoa.
No.
That's the name of the song.
No, the song's Big Balls, man.
Oh yeah.
Get it right, Frenchie.
I guess he has big balls as well. And consequences.
So, how do you guys feel about this one? Is this like, where does this sit on the hierarchy of songs? Do you enjoy this one? 'Cause this is the
remember-
most like successful one
Yeah,
so
it's
far.
one of my faves.
I remember when we first wrote it, and like I really hated the verse, like the da 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 ticka 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 da da da. I was like, oh, fuck it, I really don't like this. But then like it's one of them things, like the more you listen to it, the more you kind of change it, so you change what you do on your instrument to something that you like, and then kind of craft it, and like it's probably my favourite song to play, I think.
It's got a really good energy when we play it.
Yeah. I really love doing the bridge bit as well, where he'll slow it down and it's really like nice and kind of
Nice bit of
melodic and,
3/4, you know.
Yeah, it's
We can all
3/4.
do some
yeah.
nice dancing to it.
It's a bit like hypnotic, which has got that like repeated riff,
Yeah.
and it's all spacey, and
I
I,
think-
get to play with loads of reverb and echoes, and that's always fun.
We all,
It's
like,
great.
We all come in and out quite a lot in the song as well. Like there's
Yeah.
the bit where I'm on my own, then you come in, then you come in after that, and it's all
Yeah,
up
it
and down.
ebbs and flows.
I always feel I'm going to pass out at the end of this song because it's so hard to sing and it's very like constant and fast. So it's like very much like Love Always is very hard to sing and play.
We nearly did pass out.
Oh fucking
Sing
hell,
that
I
one.
yeah. I don't want to like flip between the songs too much, but Love Always is the only song where I've actually nearly died.
Yeah, fuck it, yeah, that's a very worrying
Mm.
bit on stage where
Yeah,
you just turn around, you're like, what the fuck, where am I? It's like,
I had
Should've-
COVID like a couple of weeks before we played a gig, and I wasn't well enough after the COVID to play really, But I was like, can't cancel, so I did it, and I was like, I just got so hot. And
I
like,
mean, you was wearing a beanie and a hoodie like midway
summer,
through a
wasn't
set,
it?
and it was just the end of summer, so it's
it
like,
just shows that because I was really cold like when we went out, so it's weird, isn't it? But
yeah, it's like, should we keep playing?
and then
Yeah, let's keep
halfway through one of the bits, I just felt all faint, and then I was like, "Where am I?" What? Because I remember being like, "What chord do I need?" Or like, "What bit are we saying? What song are we playing? What are we doing? Where
Is
am
he
I?"
high?
Why
I
am
don't
I
think
at
he's high.
Adventure Island? What's
Yeah.
going on?
Wait, the slide. The
Get
giant turtle's
Get
coming
me on the
for
turtle.
Yeah, but not to go too much off tangent, but I was fine in the end. But yeah, that was a worrying couple of moments.
Yeah.
Good
We
ride
pulled
on
it through though,
the
baby.
Beelzebub's horror train sorted you out.
Joe,
The
like,
haunted house.
I was
The
so
haunted house, yeah.
I was so ill I didn't even go on the haunted house, and that's my favourite
Oh.
thing in the world. So
It's actually crap. I went on it. I was really disappointed. I had good memories of that ride as a kid, and I went on
Yeah.
it when we played that gig at Adventure Island. It was rubbish. So don't go on it if anyone lives near Southend listening to this.
Or do, just to spite Liam.
any other memories of song number 3, or should we move on to numero 4?
Not a memory as such, but just because it would have been the first thing Kirsty walked into the studio and recorded. And we would have been on, what, day 5 or 6? Of
Oh, it's like cabin
staying-
fever had proper set in by
Yeah,
that
I
point.
mean, we've
innit?
been living together in a house, drinking, eating pizza, and just, we must have been smelly and
Stinky.
gross.
I mean, we showered every day, so
Yeah.
it couldn't have been that bad. But I
Speak
think
for yourself.
Touche.
I just
but,
imagine that's quite a weird vibe to walk into.
And I reckon we must have had one of our chilies like the
Oh,
night before as
gosh.
well, so we're probably like reeking some kind of.
I actually remember what I was wearing that day, because at one point I caught a sight of myself in the mirror. I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" Because I was wearing a pair of jogging bottoms with skeleton legs on
Yeah.
them, a tie-dye shirt, and my jumper that's got like wolves on it.
Oh fucking!
Do you know the sort of things that you see at boot sales, with like a wolf howling at the moon sort of thing? I had that, and like my hat that's got a horse sanctuary. On it.
Yes, I think
And I
there's a
remember I was
photo
like,
of it.
"What the fuck am I doing?"
Insert photo now. 'Cause-
That goes back to the point where I have no fashion sense, I suppose. But after like living in a house and drinking for 5 days, I just like obviously got dressed in the dark or something.
Yeah, it was my birthday as well, wasn't it? The last day when Kirsty came in to record. It was my 30th birthday. So I obviously got pissed as soon as we got in the studio. It's kind of made it more
Extra
fun.
special.
I guess. We did all the gang vocals that day as well. That was good.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
times. Just screaming into microphones for a while.
That was probably like one of the most fun days, because I'd already blown my voice out at that point, and we just had to be like, "Ah." As they're like shouting with all your friends is just really funny.
Yeah.
The bit at the end of the song we're talking about, Consequences,
Mm.
that's got a good gang vocal at the end, and it's
Stop!
Stop! This needs to stop.
Stop! You have
Scream
violated
it.
the law.
That was very fun to record, and it's very fun to do live as well. I like screaming that part.
We've had Kirsty do that with us a few times live, and it's always brilliant because I don't
Yeah.
have to do it. Yeah, sometimes I have to explain to the crowd, like, I normally have a singer who's much better come in and do this bit, but I'm gonna have a go. Like,
Just bear with.
so yeah, I love that song. Like, really,
Yeah.
really proud of that.
That was,
Thank you, Kirsty, again.
I think there's definitely one of the pre-lockdown songs. I think because it was quite jarring when we first wrote it, going from like this really fast 2.5 minutes 4/4 bit, and then just going into this 3/4 bit that's all like nice and spacey and stuff. And I think that was definitely one of the things I tried to work on during the first bit of lockdown, was how do we meld these two bits together? And it's just a case of like really fucking thrash it out for a couple of bars, and then it's like nice and peaceful.
You
It's
came up with that like half-time bit at the end of the second chorus. Yeah.
Took some convincing to make the song longer, but it worked.
yeah.
It's already
like-
quite a long song for us.
I mean, I
You
hate.
don't need to convince me. I love long songs.
I know, I'm the opposite. I was like, how do we shorten this? I was
Yeah.
like, can we have it as 2 separate songs? And it's like, no, it has to be one long song, and it just
Yeah.
it works. I
It
think.
was
I
going
was
to be
gonna say
Big
it.
Balls Man left and right testicles. Part 1 would be the left, and part 2 is
Oh, it's
the right.
God's
the
sake.
big balls. Oh, no, the big balls man.
I was gonna say like I'm like a fan of shorter songs as well. So like I was quite surprised. A lot of the album was quite long, and I was gonna say I feel like that is just because we were just jamming in lockdown because we didn't have anything.
Better to
Do you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like the songs would have been as long if we hadn't just had nothing to work towards.
yeah.
It's just
There's a lot of like long instrumental because you know like the new album, Stay Tuned.
Oh,
Those songs are quite short, aren't they?
so far, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's those a different sort of dynamic.
Yeah. But it's not like we go into it being like, right, this is going to be a short song. Let's just finish it. It's just sometimes
It's like it's a riff, and we just kind of jam it.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
see
it just
what happens.
feels like it wants to go on for longer. Like if you cut short, you're losing a bit. Like,
Yeah.
So
just evolve
Sometimes
like
you
that.
win with your long songs, you bastard.
I'm a fan of Tool. Their songs are like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or something.
so song number 4.
Gunk Dunk.
Gunk Dunk. This was Gunk Dunk just comes from I don't know if anyone would be listening from the USA, but we used to have a show in the mid-90s, would you say?
Yeah.
Was it 50-50? It wasn't 50.
Get your own guy.
That's all right.
It was presented by a guy called Dave Benson Phillips. Like, what was the premise? It was like
Shout out to Flism.
I can't even remember where this come like. this come
it was.
from
It
in
would be like
practice.
kids like getting.
Gunge.
It
Be
was-
going into the gunge and
Yeah.
But like kids would be like, my dad keeps making me do my homework, so they'd like
Yeah.
pour this like gunk over.
It would literally just be like, I want to get revenge on my teacher because he made me do the work that I'm supposed to do in school.
And like gunge is like a
greeny,
goo, is it like
yeah.
an ooze, if you will.
Yeah.
And it was quite a lot as well, so they'd be like covered in
Did, like a barrel full. Like,
Imagine if someone like opened a barrel of custard and dropped it on someone. That's like what the gunge looks like,
Yeah.
basically.
Do Americans know what custard is, or is it? That's quite an English thing as well, isn't it?
Imagine if
Custard.
it's
Well, maybe
oh,
not.
jam.
I don't know what the American
Gloop.
equivalent would be. Like a thick gravy, but it's sweet, isn't it?
Well, they got biscuits and gravy, but that's not really gravy, is it?
It's,
That's like,
no, it's
It'd be like a bright.
is that like custard? The great gravy,
A save-
biscuits and gravy.
I don't know. America,
Because it's like a
help.
sweet, a bit. There's a biscuit.
But imagine a yellow gravy, which is very thick. And that's like
Just look up custard. It's not that hard.
Type it in Google. Fun
and
fact
custard
about-
on spotted dick.
Fun fact: I actually saw Dave Benson Phillips perform "Get Your Own Back" live when I was at uni.
Was
ya?
it good?
No.
Yeah.
Fucking nice.
Did you get gunged?
No, I didn't get gunged. You could volunteer to go up though, and I think people were like gunging their housemates and stuff. Well, I know he had he'd make them do challenges. He was in the student union club, and they'd be on stage. They'd have a challenge. I remember one of them was like, "How quickly can you put a bed sheet on the bed?" And whoever was
Was it
the
a single
slowest.
bed as well?
Yeah, well, it was just like the duvet.
Oh,
Well,
right.
No actual bed. They just had the duvet there to put the sheet on.
Right.
And yeah, whoever was last had to go in the gunge tank. I mean, it was
That's
great.
That's well good.
So this is the twiddliest, widdliest song on the album.
Yeah. How did it come about that we ended up with 2 tapping bits at the start? I can't even remember.
I don't even remember writing the riff, to be honest. Like
This is quite an old song as well. Actually, it's
I
like
was going to say,
2019.
yeah. I remember it took us like, well, me, like
It took 6
like,
months.
like almost a year, I think, to finish the lyrics, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
because I just couldn't get it right. Like the vibe was never right, was it?
I
Like,
think we had it on set lists ready for a gig, and then like it wasn't ready, so we kept not doing it. And
Yeah.
then, like the next gig, it still wasn't ready.
And
That
then
happened a few times.
I think it kind of like premiered at the last live gig we had before lockdown.
oh, of course it
theatre
did.
one.
Yeah,
whatever that theatre
yeah.
was called. Yeah.
Cramphorn,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Chelmsford, yeah. And it's because I've watched it back on YouTube on like one of our mystery files, Fox Way, and we don't play it particularly well.
It was our first time.
It was our first time, and you know we tried.
Our little fetus palps as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of time. Yeah, because that was literally like a week before we all got put in lockdown, wasn't it? That gig. So.
Yeah, about a
'Cause
couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Pi, one of our friends, was talking to him outside, and he was like, "This COVID stuff's really serious, isn't it?" And I was like, "Nah, it's not going to be a
it's
big
nonsense,
deal."
man.
I remember talking about it at that gig, so yeah. That's why I never listen to me. I'm always wrong.
Well, at least not betting anyway.
I think the riff actually came about. We was just jamming. I think in my head it was just like, you know, where you just do something like, and I was like, oh my god, wait a minute.
fiddle it.
Joe's just like fucking around on the guitar, and it just somehow sounded good, and then all of a sudden, like, and then obviously Liam was like, I know what key's that in. Doodly 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 doodly.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's like dueling tap-ins. Like mine's in the kind of lower registers on the A string. Yours is a bit higher.
And yours is
up.
like double time as well, isn't it? In places.
some bits.
In places, yeah.
Oh,
just to
okay.
give it a little bit of a little flair.
You flash bastard.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Remember, this was another one where we wrote like a chorus bit, and in my head it just sounded so much like Saturday Superhouse by Biffy.
Yeah.
He's like, da 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 da. I was like, I don't like it. So it's another one where it's like, kind of bear with it, write something you like. And I think that first bit we go into, we had it down as like a chorus for so long, and when we actually, it's one of them things like you play it over and over again for weeks on end, and then you kind of like, is that a chorus? And you're like, no, or yes, it was, but we should change it so it's not, because it's like 4 choruses otherwise in that song. It's like, let's just make a second intro. It's like when we went to record with Jack, it's like, what shall we call this bit? That's for imprint. It's like, this is the third intro.
Intro 1, intro 2.
Just get into the song.
Is there a verse coming? No,
Start
we've got
the
intro
song.
3 first.
Start the song. Yeah, it's quite cool for me because like I'm not the most confident like guitar player in the world. Like I sort of learned how to play guitar just to be in bands, so like I don't actually know how to play any other people's songs apart from ours, really. Like, so like I never ever thought that I'd have a song where I'm playing tapping, like live sort of thing, and like I'm quite proud to say that that's something I can do now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this the if I remember rightly, is this like the hardest song on drums sort of thing? Like, do you go pretty crazy during this one?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that like sort of like technically or like physically taxing, if you know what I mean?
Both, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both, because I think we toned it down to like 198 BPM, which like can be fast depending on what you're playing, but there's so much double bass pedaling. There's that whole like drum solo section in the middle, and then there's like 2 bars of rest straight after that, and then it's like, okay, we're going into the final chorus. So like diddly 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 diddly. It's like, okay, cool, keep going, and then some more double bass, and then some intense double bass in, and then you got the outro. It's just it's a slog, but you know, live it's so much fun. Getting to the end, it's like diddle diddle. It's done.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
It's always sort of right at the start of the set, that one as well.
Yeah,
So
it's like
just
get it out
get
the
you
way.
knackered.
In a purely sort of like self-indulgent way, I think it's quite cool for a band like to have that first, because it's like quite a cool thing to come on stage and be like beedly deedly deedly, because people are like, ooh, what's this sort of thing? Like,
Yeah.
You always see the photographers like run whenever you two start playing that.
not this is the most complicated thing in the world, but like,
Yeah.
I think it's really cool actually, because it's one of those things
It
where it's
sounds-
actually really easy to play, but it looks complicated. So it's like, it's one of them where people are like, God, that's really cool. It's like, oh, well, you know, music theory is my thing.
Took my influence from Van Halen's tapping on that and put a phaser on the intro as well.
Ooh. I saw his son play recently at the Taylor Hawkins tribute thing, and he can shred like a motherfucker. It's ridiculous. He's just going.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's probably had lessons since he was like a baby.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Eddie Van Halen just like.
Like,
"Here goes
I
the
don't like
guitar."
Van Halen's music at all, but watching Kim play guitar, I was like, fucking hell, he's got his dad's genes. He's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit cheesy, isn't it? But yeah, I love his tapping. Like, I wish I could tap like Van Halen.
Well, more
Amazing.
tapping coming very soon.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe in the second album. Maybe I'll get my practices in, and then there'll be a little Van Halen inspired tapping solo.
I believe you should.
I wouldn't count on it.
A dive bomb.
Yeah.
I don't know, where does this one kind of rest on the hierarchy? Because like weird, like I like it on the album, but playing this one live, I like a lot more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's like lower on the album than it is on our live set. Because the
Definitely.
outro of this song's like one of my favourite things to do.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I get to, because it's really easy to play that bit, and I just get to go. "Ah,"
Yeah, the outro hits hard when we play it.
Yeah.
That's good.
This one should have been called Sick Outro,
Yeah.
not the other one.
The alternative lyrics of "It's just my little dick." Just had to joke.
I've got
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Stop laughing.
It's just my little dick.
I've got one. Stop,
I've got one.
stop laughing. That's definitely one that Jack he heard it, laughed, and then just turned away. Ignore them because they're fucking retarded.
I think we were doing the gang vocals, weren't we? It's just my little dick.
It's like, no, we can't do that take. Or can we?
So I guess going into what this song's about, this is like more simple, I suppose, than like not as high concept. So this, I think, I don't know if this has like been done before. I thought it was quite a novel idea because I couldn't think of lyrics for about a year, as we were saying earlier, and it was just like nothing worked. I think there's probably old recordings of me trying stuff out. None of the vibes worked, and I don't know where I thought of it, but all of the lyrics in this are actually text messages that I've received, like from people when they're like concerned. I think the original long form title of this was going to be messages of support or something like that. So yeah, that's it's a bit more simple, isn't it? It's just it's all made up of text messages that I've received at some point.
That's cool.
It's
Can you
a good concept. It's quite original. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, slightly tweaked to obviously make them work in a song, but it is all there. Sort of
I mean,
thing.
like the concept behind it. I don't know. I can't think of any other songs like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird idea, I suppose, isn't it? But
Can you, when you sing it, can you do you think of it as specific lines from specific?
yeah,
text,
I can remember who each
said
one's
what?
from, sort of thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
because I remember the text was like, "I've got you, we all do." That's from Pi, our friend, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And "We just want you home" is from my dad, and do you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else with this song. So in the music
And then
video, for
there's the text you sent yourself saying, "It's just my little dick."
yeah, that was to my current girlfriend.
Yeah.
So the video for this one is pretty heavy. So Arthur did a really good job of actually putting a load of text messages on the screen. So this is where Matt has now been rejected by Rose, and she's told him not interested, and he gets into really deep depression, and then he sort of goes to the bridge.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool scene. It was really funny filming it, because I had to dress up in the Plague Doctor costume. Oh no, sorry, this wasn't it. So this was we went to the bridge to film that, and I had to make it look like I was the Plague Doctor. So I had to put the cloak on with the glove, and then just reach out like that. And he'd be like, "No, more menacing."
More.
Oh, you haven't
More.
you haven't talked about the Plague Doctor in the videos yet. There's, what is he? What's he all about?
Oh, the Plague Doctor. I think the Plague Doctor's just part of our branding, isn't it?
I can't remember why I got the mask in the first place.
Do you know what it was? Is my friend a couple of years ago when we first started put up this picture of a Plague Doctor. I was like, oh, that's cool as fuck, sort of thing. I was like, I think I sent it to you. I was like, what do you think about this? Would you be up for having this as a symbol? Because I've always liked bands that have a symbol. Yeah, Blink-182's got the face.
Yeah.
Joe Chili's has got that little
flaming guy.
Yeah. I've always liked that because it's you look at it, it's oh, that's that band. So
Yeah.
So we decided on that, and I think I didn't give him a lot of money. It was very cheap. And then he just put the Palps thing on the bottom for us.
Yeah.
And then I think you said you had the mask, so that kind of became a thing as well, didn't it?
Of course, you've just got that lying
Oh,
around.
yeah, but why have you got that? Just coincidence.
It was my 16th century ancestor, passed down through the family.
He is plagued.
Still got spores of the Black Death inside it.
We wanted a visual representation of Matt's struggle with mental health instead of just it being a bit of a fly on the wall thing. We wanted it to be to have something there for the actors to play off and stuff like that, I guess. So and we thought, let's just make it the Plague Doctor because it all just kind of
Ties
fit
in,
didn't it? So because it's a lot of our music's about mental health, and then our branding is so that it all made sense in the end, didn't it? didn't have anyone to do it, so I had to wear the costume on set. So a little bit of an Easter egg there. It's me.
Hello.
So yeah, so that it's like Matt can see him. I think it's implied, but it's kind of becomes more and more in his world as the videos progress. Sort of thing. So this is the first time where he's actually trying to make contact. So as the video ends, it's actually Elena's character Charlotte, and this is where we're introduced to her.
Yeah, it's like the Plague Doctor is all the bad parts of his psyche, isn't it? And he's trying to avoid it. So when he doesn't see it, that means he's getting on with life as normal. But when the Plague Doctor comes in, that's when things start going bad for him. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the
So
kind of
when he's
idea
not
behind
in shot, that's like
it.
when he's as you say, when he's doing well, and then
Yeah.
sort of like when he shows up, it's like, oh fucking hell.
And it's like a metaphor for like when the Plague Doctor's kind of creeping around in the background, getting closer to him. It's like, you know, the dark side of your brain creeping up on you when you don't want it to.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's perfect.
Thank you.
So that's
Weren't you like the lighting, not director, but like you helped quite a lot of the lighting in that video as well, like the red light bits with Agatha.
Oh, so that's sorry, yeah, of course. So there's like a little bit of a dream sequence in this. Well, it's not a dream sequence. It's like Matt's in the car, and he's like going to the bridge, and he's like having a bit of a breakdown. And there's these like cool scenes of Agatha like being like mad, like all like dolled up and being seductive sort of thing. And that's like kind of not her, but his like idealized vision of her, if you know, or like what he wants to happen, sort of thing. And that was so cool. Literally, all that is I'm holding like a lamp and just going like that, with it like standing next to Arthur.
Ooh, you're a big bad bear.
But I think like the effects. It's a shame that it's like not more in the video, because the effects is like amazing, because it looks like a proper dream sort of sequence,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's what we could do for the gig at the Alex. Just have someone with a light in front going like that.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too dang bad. But yeah, so that's song.
Gunk Dunkus
Number
number
4.
4.
Right, sorry about that. We are back. We
What
just
do you mean? Sorry about that.
we had a little break.
No, we didn't.
We've freshly teed and watered and
And my
Pissed.
jeans are dry now.
hey, look at that. The passive.
It's almost like it's a different day.
Never happened.
So I'm sorry if you can hear the covers band next to a proper swinging now. So it might be a bit of background noise, but we'll carry on.
What do you reckon?
Thank you,
Likes
Terry.
When you say they're swinging,
It's Tony.
Oh,
I think he's bored to death of this podcast.
so we're halfway through the album. We're now on to song 5.
Which is called
Wow.
Football Curry Adventure.
Where did I've no. What did
I think
Football
that was
Curry
you.
Adventure come from?
I think that was
literally
your
because we had a
fantasy team.
curry for the fantasy football.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay. Yeah, that's alright. I don't
There's not
remember
much
those.
to this one. Just
not much.
Yeah, so we're in a fantasy football league and we were going for a curry. So yeah, did I just sounds like something stupid? I'd say.
It's like, yeah, let's call it Football Curry
yeah, I think we probably
Adventure.
had a practice.
No, you called
like-
it Curry Adventure, and then it's Football Curry Adventure,
Oh, okay.
and
I
then
think-
it stuck.
Yeah, we probably had a practice like the week after we just had that football curry, and it was like, well, that was fun. Why not call it Football Curry Adventure?
it's always funny when we record and Jack will say, "Oh, what's this song called?"
Yeah.
And we'll go, "Football Curry Adventure."
Yeah.
And I remember once I asked, I said, "Oh, like, do other bands do this and give their songs stupid names?" He just went,
No.
"No."
But folks, I mean, that's sort of disappointing, but not surprising, I
Yeah.
guess.
Actually, we our friend Lewis, his band does that, so we're not completely alone in that.
That's nice.
It's nice to know we're not the only freaks who do this.
So the most kind of technically song, I guess, on the album, would you say? Like, it's I think this is the one. Like, I would call this like the outlier on the album. It's like the wild card.
It's
from it.
actually called "In My Head" as well. I think we
Yeah.
missed that, didn't we?
Oh,
Yeah.
We
oh,
forgot.
sorry. Yeah, the
this.
actual song's called "In My Head."
And here it is.
It's already been.
Oh, have we done it already?
I think so.
Oh, well, I must have missed that part. Sorry, I was drinking my tea. And
Do you know, I'm
that flew
definitely
by.
not going to put in the songs at all. I'm just gonna
Oh. Well, go on Spotify and listen to it.
So yeah, this was like several different versions of this song beforehand.
I remember the first time you lot put the is it like a 5/4?
5/4.
I was just
Yeah.
standing there, I have fuck all idea what you did.
So the only reason that happened because one practice you just started playing a 5/4 drum beat at the start, and we normally just have a bit of a jam.
Yeah.
And I remember being at home and that was like stuck in my head. I thought we got to use that.
Yeah.
I remember you had an idea. You kept saying to me like, we need to do a 5/4 song. You're like, just come up with a riff in 5/4, and then
It's like pressing for it. It's like, give me some 7, give me some 5. I'm sick of 4s and
And we must have spent like a good hour just playing that bit over and over
a
again.
good couple of practices. Like,
Yeah.
even now, I sometimes like lose my place. I'm like, no, just keep counting. It's like, we wrote this. It's
Do you know what's weird that I never realised? Like writing lyrics to stuff that's in a different time signature was hard, and I thought I'd never thought of that. If you know what I mean?
yeah, because I think we went through like a list of songs in 5/4. It's like trying to get inspiration for that bit because originally I can't remember what song we had written at the same time, but both of them had quite long instrumental bits, and it's like, do we want another instrumental? I think because messages and in my head are like side by side. It's like, do we want two songs with a minute long of instrumental? Which, yeah, maybe, but it's like quite a
But it's
challenge.
not what the people want.
There was that bit was just like an instrumental bridge for ages, wasn't it? We
Long
added
time.
the lyrics literally right before the recording, I think. I'm pretty sure I'd never heard the lyrics until we actually went in the studio. And you
Yeah,
did
I
it.
think I got like a voice note from you of you doing it, and I was like, yeah, that sounds fucking wicked, man. It's like, and then we turn up, it's like, oh yeah, by the way,
Yeah. Like, what's this bit? What's going on?
what the hell is he doing?
This is my moment to shine. Shut up.
It always makes me laugh in that bit in the sort of the middle section because like me trying to shoehorn lyrics and then because I go, I am just so desperately trying.
I think you get used to like certain vocal patterns, don't you? And then you're like, shit, I have to add like another beat at the end. So it's like, Lee.
Yeah, that was funny. And like that's another one where it's just like it's a bit. I'll let you guys get on with that because I don't know. Like I just started jamming along and I play whatever I play now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's quite weird because how much that song changed. Because if you listen to the first bit, it's quite like just like a run of the mill sort of just downbeat sort of
Well,
riff, isn't it?
It's
Like,
funny, like originally, I think we had that and Ava, and it felt like the intros were quite similar. It's like 4/4 for I don't know 16 bars or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, they're quite, similar pattern, and then we've got the outro from our old song Forfeit. It's like diddly It's like, how about putting that at the beginning? Because everyone fucking loves that bit.
this is the song where I was really nervous about actually bringing it out because I think like we obviously really like it, but then I was worried about people hearing the like and being like, what the fuck is this? Like, because it's that bit and then that bit in the chorus and then there's like a big fuck off instrumental section in the middle, and I just thought everyone would be like,
what is this?
but actually like we've had good feedback on this song.
Yeah,
really,
it's like one of the heaviest
Yeah.
ones on the album, and like it's quite well received
Yeah.
so far.
It's
Can
one of
they
the ones.
get-
It's never going to be like a single that's going to be on the radio or anything, but it's kind of us doing our own thing that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think that,
bit
you know what we were
of-
saying
bit of
earlier about
indulgence.
would we have written the songs we've written if we weren't in lockdown? I think this is a prime example. If we wouldn't have like a 2-minute 5/4 instrumental section if we weren't in just jamming in
No.
lockdown board.
No, we would.
It's that sort of thing though. Is like I guess getting into what this is about. This is like quite a personal one for me. So this is like I think anyone who knows me knows that I've had like problems with anxiety for years. But yeah, this is specifically about like my I don't know if you call it a struggle or whatever with health anxiety.
Mm.
So to give you the full story of that, about 5 years ago almost, 2017 on New Year's Day, we would have got back from like
somewhere.
wherever we'd been, and I'd had panic attacks before, but not like a full blown one. And for whatever reason, I was standing talking to my friends in the flat, and my heart just went, just did a big like, oomph. And I thought I was having a heart attack, but because I don't know why. Like when I was with all my friends, I was like, I can't let them know that I'm having a heart attack, sort of thing. So I like burst into the bathroom, was like trying to wash my face, and
It's like the best place to tell someone.
No,
as if we'd just be like, you inconsiderate bastard, how dare you have a heart attack?
We're having a good time.
We're having fun here, come on.
I don't think I was in the right frame of mind. I was like, oh, this can't happen now, sort of thing. And then it turns out I was just having a bad panic attack, but I'd not had one to that like degree before, and it was just horrible because I literally felt like I was about to die. Like I felt like my heart was pounding and my hands went all like numb, like dry mouth and like all like an impending sense of doom, I guess, if you know what I mean. And then that just wouldn't go away. Like I think. So it might have been you, H. You might have walked me around the block once because I was like, I've got all this like nervous energy. So I walked around the block, and then everyone went to bed, and I was just left walking the streets of London.
Because it ties in with the end lyrics of "Dead."
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, and we will get to that. But I suppose. Well, like I was just walking around, not knowing what to do. I was like, do I call an ambulance for myself? Do I not? And then after like about 3 hours or whatever it was, I sort of calmed down again and went back to bed. And that started off a real like period in my life, I guess, of like just having these panic attacks and feeling I'm going to die. And I got very obsessed with my heart health then, because I had to say at the time as well, I was like, drinking too much, and I was 21.5 stone, I think 22 stone. So I was like not healthy anyway. So I was like, I probably am having a heart attack. I was like, I'm a prime candidate.
The indulgence has got to me.
I always find it weird,
today.
like hearing these stories about you being that big, because I've only ever known you skinny, and I can't picture it.
No, I was a big boy at one point.
The hugs were good.
Now they're all bony and weird.
Yeah, bony Alex, gross. I miss bad Alex.
Yeah, like. It's so like where this song is about that time in my life. Well, that 5 years, I suppose.
Yeah.
Where it would be when I'm like lucid and rational. I know that I'm not dying because that's ridiculous. Because if you have a heart attack, you're having a heart attack, and if you had heart problems, you wouldn't be 5 years on still worrying you've got heart problems. If you know what I mean, something would have come about by then. But then you get into that anxious state, and then it's like, no, I'm dying. Oh my god, blah.
Yeah.
And there's like bits where I've like shouted at my mum and my partner and stuff like that, because I've been like, get me an ambulance. And having obviously you guys have been in the car when I've had a panic attack before.
Yeah.
And someone has had to drive my car home for me and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just about that basically. How I know that those feelings were all in my head, but it always just comes out, sort of thing. And how it's like I'm being open and honest, like I'm 5 years behind everyone else now, because I'm back on track and I'm like healthy and I'm, like dealing with that, and I don't have that level of anxiety anymore. But all my peers have kind of moved on 5 years, and I've only just recently got back to a place where now I'm rebuilding my life, if that makes sense.
It's funny that because we was in our own little side project band at that time, and then had that like series of events not happen to you, like would Palps have formed really?
It wouldn't have been called Palps anyway. Because,
No.
it's obviously it's funny you mentioned that, because that's how Palps came about. Where I wanted to write about my experiences through like, because this like after I've had it for about a year, I think in sort of early 2018. I started writing a couple of like acoustic-y bits and like pop punky songs, I suppose. And my when I was getting palpitations, my partner would quite often be like, "Oh, you're getting Palps again?" And I was like, "Oh, Palps." So I decided I'd be a solo project called Palps. And then I asked you guys, like, do you want to, like, can you help me play a couple of gigs, sort of thing? And I think when we started jamming, we were just like, oh, should we just make it a full band, sort of thing? And then the Palps name just stuck, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a terrible band name, but it's like writing trying to think of band names like the hardest part of starting
you
a
like
band. I think.
spiders, do you? Shut up.
I
thought
kind
it was
of-
about Senator Palpatine. and Star
Yeah,
Wars.
it is kind of. Do it.
It's weird though. Like I know it's a crap band name, but like I love it at the same time because it's so personal and there is actually a proper story behind it and stuff.
Yeah,
But,
that's cool.
but yeah, that's why I have full creative control over things because these lot are just my backing bands.
I never signed that contract.
Not when he was awake, he didn't.
You wouldn't have had that 5/4 bid if it wasn't for us three. So
That was in the small print. I give you like one song a year. To like
indulge yourself in this one weird song, and then it's back to what I want to do.
7/4 into 8/8. But yeah, so that's that song, I suppose. Any
Well,
sort of
yeah.
memories of this one? Or?
Well, when I think it kind of came from one of the first songs we jammed back in 2018 when it was like the pop punk and there's like all this weird kind of stuff going on,
Yeah.
and we had this cool outro that built up and then it culminated in the diddly weird.
Yeah.
And
Oh, this was Forfeit.
yeah, it's the only bit of the song that really that made it onto the final product.
It's kind
like
of there
4
in,
years later.
It's kind of there in spirit. It's got the same.
There's like little bits.
Yeah.
If we had an early demo, which I think I do somewhere, it's like knocking around. You can, if you heard that demo, you'd be like, oh, okay, it's taken them 3-4 years to take all them bits and put it into that,
Yeah.
and get a Dan to help arrange it. So
It's funny how songs adapt like that. They sort of like take bits from songs and then sort of like put them in another song, isn't it? Like
So we've got a load of recordings where we've like jammed new songs, and you kind of listen to them back. It's like, well, most of that sucks, but it's like the odd bit here and there. It's like, actually, that's really good. Can we take that?
this
part
is
and
shit,
put-
but
Yeah, but that bit was really good. So let's make that into another song. And that's
So
kind of
do-
what this one was. It was a mix of a lot.
yeah,
of
do
different
that like
bits.
5 times, and you might be able to Frankenstein a song together, which we have.
Yeah.
I guess like where does this sit on this? It's like for me this is like I really like this, but it is like the weird one on the album, if you know what I mean.
It's like the
Yeah, I
black
mean,
sheep of the album.
We haven't played it live yet either.
No.
So
No,
it's,
no.
Yeah,
So
watch
that's-
this space. I
Maybe
suppose.
by the time, when's this coming out? This podcast?
Well, the day of the single, hopefully.
Oh,
Oh, so tomorrow,
yeah.
You-
tomorrow.
if this is going as planned, tomorrow you'll hear this live for the first time. Whoever turns up, if you turn up, which is
everyone. But
everyone listening right now. And if you didn't, well, or if it doesn't go to plan, then we played it live and it went.
and this is the song that actually finished me off.
Let's just do both. We played it live. It went really well. We played it live, and it was awful.
It was terrible.
Edit in whichever one's appropriate.
We played it live and it was okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Middle ground.
We played it live and everyone left. To go through like what is going on in the music video for this song. So this is where Matt has met the Charlotte character, and they've in the sort of the bit in between those two songs they have formed a relationship, and this is just her like really helping him. So where he's been in that place, so she's encouraging him to get back into work. Like the flat is all like nice and done up. They're going on lovely walks and stuff together. She's like encouraging him to get back out running and write songs and all that sort of thing. So everything's really nice. And then you see the plague doctor right at the end, and you're like, for let them be.
Cut him some slack, man.
He's always there. You think you've got peace, but no. That plague doctor is always there, lurking around the
always-
corner somewhere.
There he is. So
Where is he?
numero cease.
Numero cease, but
what
my numero uno. This is my favourite song.
Oh, okay,
Would
interesting.
be Mr. Long Song guy.
Yeah.
What
So,
was it called?
This song's called Imprint.
No, what was it called?
I'm literally a
I'm literally a
wrestler.
wrestler.
I'm literally yeah, right.
So shout out to Arthur Walwyn, I suppose. 'Cause that song comes from you.
You've inspired a crap song title.
Yeah, I think Liam went over it like when we first started, but we said we liked wrestling. He was like, "Do you like wrestling?" And he's like, "I'm literally a wrestler." It's like I go to wrestling training and all that sort of thing. And I think we were so giddy that we sort of like that name just stuck, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were
Add it
like,
to the list. Add it to the list.
so
Always shortened to IALAW. It's too long to say I'm literally, or just wrestler. It was wrestler for a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
this is like once again a bit of an outlier on the album, and to be honest, like in any songs we've ever written, because this is like an actual slow-ish song, isn't it? Like we've never written a song with like 2 clean sort of guitars in it, so it's like cool new. I think people would listen to this and be quite surprised that it's us. I don't know what you guys think. Like,
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
I like it. It's like it's nice, mellow. It's like it builds up really well as well. I think. Like I like that it's got like 3 different intros. And no, but like it starts off really soft, and then there's the bit after first one or whatever where we all kick in, and it's just nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of.
there's a very convoluted history to this song as well, because this song is actually
Is it 2 of our?
Yeah, so it's two songs, but one of the riffs I wrote at university 12 years ago. So that's weird, and it's saying about picking songs, how that's evolved over like 3 or 4 songs now, and so I guess the bulk of it comes from a song where me and H were in a band together, like what,
Radisson Square.
7 years ago?
Oh, it's coming up for 9.
Oh, jeez.
No, it is 9 years. Fuck.
God.
You're old.
I've been hanging out
Done
too
nothing
much.
with my life.
Yeah, and we kind of like, I think that song, like, I've always been very proud of it. It used to be called Recluse, that song.
Which we have played.
We had to fill out an hour once. It was like, the Recluse, there you go.
Yeah.
But it was like never quite right, was it? It was kind of like never did that well,
No.
sort of thing. So took the kind of the best bits from that and changed it around. And it's also like another line of lyrics from another song. From
Kudos,
that
Johnny.
band. So yeah, so shout out to Johnny for giving us that line and allowing us to have it. So
In exchange for a car.
So kind of like when I was writing this song, this was kind of after we knew that we were doing all the music videos, so it's kind of a weird mismatch of like, this is songs about Matt in an album that's about me, if you know what I mean. Like, so that first line is, must be love, they said, she left flowers on the bed, but then I opened up my mouth instead. That was like a really old, obviously, lyric that's 9 years old now, as you say.
9 years.
And when I was writing the rest of the lyrics, I wanted to be like, okay, well, what does he say?
Yeah.
And that's where we get onto this. So it's like how you can be someone's soulmate, but they might not be yours. And someone can be like fantastic and perfect, but if you don't, if the heart wants what it wants, if you know what I mean, and if you don't feel like that, then you can't force yourself to love someone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a heavy topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like obviously a brilliant performance by Elena in the video, as we said before. Like some of the facial expressions, you can really see like the pain, but also like the anger.
She's crushed. Look at her.
I've had people text me. I was saying this when I was speaking to someone the other day. Be like, "No, Charlotte, Team Charlotte," sort of thing. Matt is a bastard for hurting her feelings. So yeah, that's I don't know. It was like a cool experience recording this, I think, wasn't it? Because we got to like try different things and like play through different sort of amps and stuff like that. Like I used a chorus pedal, which I don't normally do, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was nice to do a bit of clean tone for a while. I'm just kind of always on overdrive channels, or my overdrive pedals always on. But in the studio, I think it was nice to just sit back and just play through a different amp and play clean with some nice reverb on it.
A weird thing
good
for is like
experience.
obviously there's a fantastic like tapping bass bit in it. Like where did you kind of come up with that? Was that like something that evolved over time, or did you just kind of like, was you just like noodling to it one day and that?
I can't really remember. I think I listened to a lot of like math rock and stuff like that, and you always see the guitarist doing it. I was like, well, I want to do something like that.
I want to do some
Fuck that
tappies.
guy.
But obviously tried to keep it tasteful because it's in quite a chilled out song.
Add some slap.
Yeah.
Which is like a good point, because you think in like a slow, like not love song, but like kind of breakup song, love-ish song, you'd think if I told you like I was got a tapping bass riff in the middle of it, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But it is actually very, I think, very tasteful. And
I
like
remember
goes
when we
with
were
the
doing it, and we were doing that bridge, and we're like, right, we want everyone to cut out, and then we'll gradually come in. So it starts with just Alex's guitar on its own, and then it's like, right.
Which was
then we
another thing that you did, which is because because originally we was just going to go straight into it, and then he's like, no, we should
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
back.
no.
And I was like, no,
drop,
fuck
drop everything
fuck
out
off,
and
Liam.
build it up. But yeah, so it's like Alex's guitar, and then it was like, right, and then we want the bass to come in, but didn't really know what that would entail. And then he just came to practice one week and just came up with this amazing tapping bit. I was like, wow, that's like better than I
Yeah.
had.
It looked like you put your foot up on the amp. It's like he's fucking serious, man.
It was
It's
amazing.
one of those parts where I was like really happy with it, recorded it, thought it went really well in the studio, and then like it dawned on me that I'm gonna have to play this live. And like I'm like the sweatiest, horrible person ever. And like every time we play it, I'm quickly like grabbing a towel and rubbing everything down. But just about getting to grips with it now.
Yeah. No, you pull it off. As soon as people's been, I really like that bass tapping bit. And stuff. Yeah.
No,
It's amazing.
that's brilliant. I don't think it's one of those things. You know, like I knew you did it, but you know, because we always have earplugs in. I think at practice you don't really know other people's parts, and it's only when you record them in the studio
Where
that
it's
you
like soloed out.
and you're like,
Yeah.
"Fuck, I didn't know Liam played that in that bit." Do you know what I mean? Like, and when you played that for the first time, I was like, "Wow, this is like brilliant."
It's like, I think I was like, I've got a video of you doing it. Because I was like, this is too good an opportunity.
Yeah, I guess as I said before, where does this sit? I know it's your favourite.
Yeah.
Is this like
Ishiban.
a weird outlier for you, or is this like a song that you actually really like on the
I
album?
really like it, and I love playing it. I think the first half is almost like having a breather for me because it's quite calm.
Yeah.
Just like chill out a bit.
It's almost like sometimes we start playing it and you don't want to go too slow for the intro. It's like usually the set we play at the moment is so manic the first half, and then that's all finished, but blood's still pumping. You're like, all right, next song. It's like, calm down, diddly diddly diddly. It's like, whoa, okay. It's like making sure we get it all spot on.
I think for me, like, I'm really proud of this song because it's something so different, and I thought like we actually managed to pull off writing a slower song, and I think I really get to it's like not that hard to sing, but it's you know, where it properly kicks in, and I get to go like anymore. Like that's one of my favourite things to do because I could just be like, that's not that hard a note for me, so I can really like belt it, and I always love doing that live sort of thing.
Nice.
As I'm quite proud of like some of the lyrics in this, apart from the ones I didn't write, but like
Like the main bit.
as well. This is another Kirsty did a
Is
little
it?
bit. This is we got you to thank for this, Hayes, because I think because it was just random, wasn't it? I think like
She's in
she
the
was-
studio.
yeah,
and
just
it's
randomly
like-
in the studio, and you was like, "Oh, why don't you try this bit?" And we had to like write the lyrics
write the
down.
lyrics out. Yeah, I think it's fun because before and during when we was writing and going to the studio, and we had like just before we went to record, I'd like be staying up every night drinking, and I'd have like the demos on constant loop, and I'd be writing notes like, "Oh, we should add like the evil ping, or like having like
What this needs is an evil pig.
evil pig, or like having like rain before the black in the intro, have some rain and thunder and like." And then I think one of the notes on one of the drunken nights was like, maybe have Kirsty or like a female singer, because I think we had a couple of options for female singing featured artists coming on the album, but Kirsty was there for it, so it's like, yeah, let's get her to do both.
You smashed it.
Yeah.
It's a like brilliant idea that you came up with, because I think it really adds like another dimension to that bit, and it's cool having like I don't know, it's almost like you're hearing the conversation that they're having,
Yeah.
but like I'm retelling it, if that makes sense, but you can hear
But it's
how
her
actually
voice.
yeah, like so cool, and like she a real like softness.
Yeah, it's a
to
real
it, like-
contrast to the other tracks you did, which is quite hard, and this is like so gentle. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think because you had already done your bit, and then we was like, no, we have to go back and make it like even softer for both parts.
Yeah, that's funny. You said, I just remembered that actually, because yeah, as you say, I sang it just like low, and then after Kirsty done our bit,
It's so gentle.
Yeah, so like, is it called like a preamp? Jack like cranked it so much because I was literally like whispering into the microphone, and he was like, "Right, everyone has to stay really, really quiet for this. So just like, eat your crisps now, sort of thing."
Just like
But I don't know if you remember when I was doing that bit, everyone was proper like having to sit still.
yeah.
Because you know, like when you was like playing really heavy guitars or something, I could just eat like a pack of like open tail, like or like and stuff. It didn't really matter, but that bit everyone had to shut the fuck up for a bit.
Talking about the vocals, you've got to mention the outro as well. The choir.
Oh, the Palps choir, baby.
I think that's another just like ad-libbed bit when we was practicing in like room 3 here. It's just like we finished the song and then like one of us was like, "This is all I've..." It's like, wait, let's actually do that.
I don't know what you call it. Is it a roll or something like that? Like a where it's all going on at the same time. It's like all the motifs from the song at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 4 different lines from the song, isn't it? We picked one each, and it was like, right, let's sing that all together.
Do you know, I just read a really funny thing that happened in the studio. I was like, you know, it was all 4 of us lined up in front of the microphone, and I said to Jack, like, should we all sing the same thing, or should we do it like all sing a different thing? Like, and he was like, "Please don't do that." He was like, "I'll never be able to mix it otherwise."
That was quite an ask, wasn't it? Like, what are the backing vocals? It's a 4-part choir harmony.
Yeah, just
all like coming in and out. But
Yeah.
he smashed it because like you can. I don't know whether he's done it so like the bits are like turning up and down because you can kind of hear bits like coming in and out, can't you? And it sounds like a load of like drunken rabble, but it's cool because it's like very raw and
yeah. I think like we tried it live twice, maybe 3 times, and I think the first time we did it because like we'd never done anything like that before, and we was all trying our hardest to like sing in tune, and like I remember finishing the song and like hearing someone laugh. I was like, "Fuck! Like I'm not doing that again."
I think we could do it again if it was at the end of the set, because we play it like in the middle of the set normally. That bit is so loud that I normally blow out my voice. I can't, because it's like it's just standing away from the mic. Going, "Ah!" But yeah, I think like that is the Christmas #1. Like, I'm really proud of that song. Like,
It's
proud
really
of
big
like
in Finland. They love it over there.
Yeah, all the bots in Finland.
So I suppose we should go through. This video is very sad. So this is they get home from a night out, and Charlotte proposes to Matt, and he hesitates.
What a bastard.
Team Charlotte, man. So yeah, it's just like, and she says it's her again, isn't it? And he sort of like stutters again. He's like, yes, no, it's not. And it's like, it's kind of open to interpretation, like if you think it is or not. He's obviously not over her, but it's not like almost the love. It's like the guilt.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it to come across that obviously he does love Rose, and he's trying, like he does love Charlotte. That's not in question. It's just like when it's sprung upon him like that, he realizes like he's not
ready.
ready, I guess. And where he's gone through all this stuff, he's like hardened up, and he's scared to let her in like that, I guess. But it's open to interpretation, but that's like how we kind of was writing the script. What was in my mind, but it's up to you, I guess. But yeah, it's very sad. She's like fantastic performance. As I said before, like her facial expressions are like where she's first realizes that he's not going to say yes, and she looks down. It's just like, oh,
like fucking broken, and you can see it's like, oh.
It's like excellent editing by Arthur as well, because you can. It's like just the perfect like cut, I suppose. It's just really funny actually in this video. It's like obviously like a slow, sad, love-ish breakup sort of song. The very end of the video is a bit. It's like a fucking horror film.
Yeah,
so it's all red, and then like the camera goes to the door, and I'm the plague doctor. Just stand like
there. It's like,
it's like
oh
a jump
God.
scare.
Yeah.
Arthur like cut that together and like sent it. She was like, "Fucking look at this!" I was like, "Oh my God!" It's like it's filmed like a horror shot, isn't it? Because I just like, it's not as scary when you find out what I was doing, because in that mask you can't see anything.
I can't see without my glasses.
Yeah, well, I couldn't wear my glasses in it, and those eyes things steam up. So I had to stand like by the doorway, and he'd have to be like, "Okay, go," and I'd have to like try and stand in the middle of the doorway, and I'd like overshoot it or something. You're like, "No, again." So yeah, it looks scary, but it's actually me being like, "Ooh." Yeah, but yeah, that's probably enough on that one. But
It's very pointless anecdote, but I remember when you sent me the initial voice note for that. He was like, "Oh, I've got a new idea for a song." He like, it's like made up of 2 old songs. It's like, "Oh, cool." It's like just sat on the toilet, like listening to it for the first time. It was like 3 minutes. Like, yeah, this is fucking. This bit, I can imagine the drums to this bit. Like, this could be like a great if we extended this bit. It was just like very aware. All of a sudden, that I was on the toilet listening to this. Like,
well, if that's not a metaphor for our band, I don't know what it is.
it's shit.
So we're moving on to
Grond.
Song number 7.
Grond.
Nothing can breach it. I don't know if
Big
anyone
old
is.
battering ram.
Is this a thing? Is that not just on like the extended Lord of the Rings as well?
Well, that's the only version of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's in the book.
No, I just said, would you have to watch the extended versions to get this?
No, I think you.
Don't know.
I think
it's just like
no,
battering
it
ram,
is,
isn't
it
They, like,
is.
get the Grond. And
Is it?
Yeah, so it's in
The
Lord of the
American
Rings,
orc.
and it's
But nothing can breach it.
it's the battering ram, and all the orcs go Grond.
Yeah, that made it to the working titles.
Grond very nearly was the actual title for this, because we was like, we have to leave Grond, but
Yeah.
I thought like we did change it in the end.
what's it called now?
Before the Black, this is
Oh,
called now. And as well, like I
Still
remember
Grond
you
in
said
my
from
heart.
day one, pretty much, he was like, we need rain in it.
Yeah.
We need a storm. Was that did it just sound right? Do you think, or like
I think
was this something you heard in your head? Sort of.
I think 'cause before we went to record that song, and when I was having like my late night drunken experiences, like night after night, and I think one day I just spent listening to The Doors and Riders of the Storm was on. It's
Riders
like,
of-
it's like, oh yeah, that's really nice. And like just got inspired by that. It's like, yeah, I think Before the Black kind of, because I knew what the meaning behind the song was all about. It just like it felt like it fit really well.
I remember getting a demo back for this. You know, like when Jag does like a test mix, and you was like, "Where's the rain?"
Yeah.
That's like the first thing.
I was very anal about.
Where's
the
my
rain.
damn storm?
Yeah. I wanted thunder.
And there's none here. Yeah, it's I'm gonna go ahead and say this is my favourite song on the album.
Yeah, same.
Because once again, it's quite different. I think for our normal stuff, it's very very early noughties emo. I think this is, and like,
Yeah,
do you
very
think like,
very post-hardcore-y vibe to it? It's like
someone on the
definitely-
YouTube channel said it's Hawthorne Heights vibes in this song,
It's like, are you sure?
which is great for me, but like a bit of a
That was on
tangent.
Wrestler,
But
wasn't it?
I think that was Wrestler. Yeah.
oh, was it okay? There's a bit of a tangent for this, but I've got like a bit of a confession to make about my emo status.
Ooh.
I used to pretend that I hated emo music when I was in school.
You suck.
Yeah, I think like I've had to give you like the full context. I've had this thing my entire life where I know that I'm quite like camp and effeminate sort of thing, and I've known it my whole life. But I've always been like trying to do manly things to like make me seem not
Lumberjack.
camp, if you know what I mean. So when I was a kid, I was like started playing rugby to like toughen me up, and then like now like I took up boxing to try and be like manly and all that sort of thing. And it's like I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, what's the most manly music I can listen to? Like metal. So like I used to pretend that all I listened to was like thrash metal and death metal and stuff. So I used to wear like a Slayer hoodie. And did you ever have a Pixo website?
Yeah.
I had a page on my Pixo website that said, I hate emos. And I was like, I hate their hair. I hate their clothes. I hate their music. It's not proper music. I only listen to Slayer. That's real metal.
Was this before or after you had the slinkies on your arm?
No, well, after I think.
I never did that.
No, that was before actually, because I sort of learned to accept myself a bit more after that, and sort of had my scene phase. But yeah, I used to say that I only like Metallica and Slayer and like Killswitch Engage and Death Black. I'm manly.
And then secretly have like Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah, honestly, I would go home and the stuff I was listening to would be like Hawthorne Heights, Silverstein, like Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance. That's what I actually like. So I was like a proper emo scene kid, but I just was so scared to like
come to terms with it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's so weird, isn't it? But yeah, back to this song.
Before the Black.
Before the Black shows my emo influences. Yeah, I really like the different bits in this. So like there's like the calm beginning and you're like, oh, where's this going to go? And then it's quite a big. I also think like giving full props to Eliam, like I think the solo is like at the perfect time on the album, because I feel like everything's been building to a crescendo, and I feel like this. I don't know what you guys think. I feel that solo's like the big, not
hurrah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It comes to such a head. It's like because everything's so intense, and there's that big release of the solo, and it's like,
It almost wasn't a solo for a long time. I remember we just played it as like an instrumental section.
And then it's like...
And then I was like, it just needs something else there.
Didn't we like sit down and we was like, it needs more. Like you're doing this really cool, like, at the end it's like, put something before.
Yeah. And I remember sitting in my room just writing it. I was like, right, I'm going to do a solo. It's like not something that we do a lot in our songs. There's not a lot of guitar solos, so
which is weird because I'm not a fan of guitar solos, but I think where that is, it's just so perfect, and it's like really like elevates the song. I think
there's a time and a place for it. I think if we started ripping out a solo in every song, it would get a bit tedious. It's like
Avenged Sevenfold seems to do it.
That is very tedious.
That fits like that kind of music. For us, it's not really wouldn't really fit a lot of the songs, but in this one there was a time and a space for a solo, so I thought let's go for it and let's do one.
Watch this space, like album number 3 is going to be a guitar solo
in every single song. Yeah. 5 minutes of guitar solo.
So like, what was your process of writing a solo? Was it just like, because I know you've got like more of a sense of theory than me, but did you like, I'll try this scale, or was it just like a feel thing, playing it over and over and then like improvising it sort of thing?
Yeah, it was a bit of improvisation at first. I just kind of played along with it, and I was like, oh, that lick kind of works, and then I'd write that down. Yeah, I don't know really. I was
just winging it, baby.
Yeah, obviously I knew what key it was in and what scale I need to do, and I just kept writing little bits until it all fit together, and then there was a couple of gaps, and I had to write something to fill in the gaps between the two little licks, and I just kind of went from there.
No, it's so cool, I think.
Spent a night in my room writing a solo, which was fun, to be fair.
Was that like cool in the studio for you, like trying to just like getting to rip a solo sort of thing?
Yeah, it was. I think it was like the last thing I did as well. I was like, I'll save that to the end, like warm up with everything
I've got
else.
a video of that as well. It's like,
yeah. I think,
I suppose we've not really mentioned enough, really. Like that's one of the cool bits about being in the studio, isn't it? To like just play loud.
Yeah.
Like you getting to rip like an amp turned up really loud. Like, I was like, I don't know, like must have been awesome.
It was fun, yeah.
The only point is you have to do it like 10 times is like the annoying bit, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like, because we don't do a lot of solos, and it's not something that I do all the time. When we play that song live, I always get a little bit of anxiety just when it's coming up to that bit, because I'm like, shit, I have to do the solo. I mean, we've practiced it enough that it's kind of second nature, but like it's still, I get a bit anxious every time we play it. Yeah, I'm like, oh no, it's coming. Like, and it's like, especially doing a guitar thing, you're so like up front, it's like, if I fuck it up, that's going to be really embarrassing.
I'm not going to lie, every time you do that solo, I'm just watching you. Like, I know my bit. Like, but I just enjoy watching you like shredding.
I know what you mean actually, because that's one of my favourite bits in our live set, because my bit's really quite easy for that bit, so I can just like proper rock out and just let Liam loose sort of thing.
Go boy, sick 'em.
It's a fun one to play live. Definitely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We've had some nice feedback on that. I think people like I think they've said, I said at the beginning, it's like, oh, where's this going? And then when it comes in quite hard, they're like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
It's like quite a simple song, really, isn't it? Like chords. Well, I don't know what you you're playing, but like I'm literally just playing power chords through most of that.
Yeah, no.
And there's like one
so
minor
am I.
chord that I play, and that's about it. But
I like the kind of the rhythms that we're doing in the verse. It's a bit different. It's not all just like da da da. It's like a bit like stabby and chopped up and stuff. It's quite fun to play. It gives me like energy playing that.
I feel like this is just a good just a straight up rock song almost, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like it's fun, like having the big outro and everything like that as well. And like I guess like what's this about? It's
about a battering ram called Grond.
Grand. Is it? I mean, obviously we've been having fun talking about it. I don't want to bring this down, but what this song is about like a note that I used to leave in my phone. So it's like, obviously with all the anxiety and depression and stuff like that, there have been times where I've thought about that I don't want to be here anymore, which is hard to say out loud if you know what I mean. But so I've had like therapy and stuff, and like one of the things they got me to do is like appreciate little things. So it's like whatever it is, like whatever you have to do to try and stay alive, just do it. Like it doesn't matter how small it is. So it's like, you know, if you go outside and like, oh, the sun's nice today, I shouldn't kill myself because that's a nice thing that I'm not going to see again, if that makes sense. That's like one of the things they go through with you. So I have a list, like not now, but like in times gone by, I've had a list that I kept on my phone of just nice things called, and it was I think I told it's like Reasons to Live, but I think it was like Reasons Not to Kill Self was like the title of it. And it was all just things like that. So it's like I can't kill myself because, you know, I've got to do stuff with the band, and it's like I can't kill myself because you know, what have I done? I haven't done anything yet. I need some at my funeral. I need something for them to talk about. If you know what I mean, like, I need to achieve something first. And I've always been worried about a lyric in the middle of this because I've always worried people find it funny.
What the?
Like with the lyric, because it's like I can't die yet because my dog wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
And I've always been worried because that's just like a genuine thing. Because like I've had it written in my phone, like, I can't kill myself because I've got a dog. Yeah. He's like, and I'm his main caregiver, and he. Do you know, like if I just disappeared one day, he wouldn't understand, and it'd be like
just be lost.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I've been worried that that's a stupid lyric, but it's a very genuine personal thing.
Yeah.
So because I've been worried like people like fucking talking about his dog. Like
no, it's true though. It's like when you go on holiday and you leave the dog for a while, and you're like, I wish I could explain to the dog that I'll be coming back. Like you just think, what's going through their head? They think
7 days.
You've left
7
forever,
days. I'll be back.
I think like I really got upset the other day because I listened to a thing about a guy who killed himself on his Facebook Live.
Jesus.
So this guy was on Facebook Live and he like had been through so much trauma, and he just wasn't in a good way, and he killed himself on this Facebook Live. And someone said like, if you watch the live stream, a couple of minutes later, like a couple of seconds after he does it, his dog comes into the room.
Oh Jesus.
And it's like he's all confused and stuff, and I thought, fucking hell, like that. I just like really started crying because I thought like, yeah, like not that I think I would have done anything, but say if I had, like, do you know what I mean? Just like that, I can't imagine the confusion that your pet would feel and stuff like that. And obviously,
like the human
your
as well.
my family and stuff would have been devastated and stuff like that, but they can rationalize what's happened. But like, because Chase is like my little baby sort of thing, like, and he depends on me, he wouldn't understand. So it sounds lame, but like my dog is a real reason to keep going because he's like, he needs me, and that's, you know,
It's not lame.
I'm a caregiver. If you know.
Not lame at all. Dogs are brilliant.
So, but I would encourage anyone to, you know, just like whatever it is, to keep going. And it's funny how small things can make you want to live. Like, as I say, like, you know, you. Yeah. Where I'm starting my recovery process, sort of thing. Like, there are times, you know, like I'm appreciating the little things where I'll just like we've been at a festival, I think, and I just laid on the grass and just like was just dozing and stuff. And I was just like, I don't have to do anything at the moment, and it's really nice. And I never appreciate just, you know, just laying down and just laying in the sun and stuff. But that's like, you don't
do it enough.
You don't think about that stuff when you're in that mindset.
Yeah, I think when everything's going bad, you don't appreciate like just the little things that give you joy in life. And
it's the little things which are so beautiful about being alive, like stuff like that, like just hanging out with my dog, or stuff like this, like chatting with you guys, just laying in the sun and stuff like that. It's just like that's especially because everything's so shit at the moment as well.
It's bliss.
Jerry, like life is very hard, but there's like a lot of beauty to be taken from it, if that makes sense. And that's kind of what this is about. This song is like, it's half like, it says like, I want to be alive, but not like this. That's me in that state. Yeah. And the rest of it's about like trying to find
Cheer yourself up to find the better things.
It's actually one of the most optimistic songs that we've got.
Yeah.
And the last bit is just about how like
everyone's doing fine.
Yeah, it's like how I'm catching up. I'm 5 years behind everyone else. Where it's hard to accept as like a person of my age, if you know what I mean. That I don't have the house and I don't have like the savings, and do you know what I mean? Like yet, but
me neither.
but it's just something that I have to like accept for the moment.
Yeah,
but everyone goes through life at different
pace.
Yeah, that's the word I was thinking for. A different pace. Yeah, it's like don't compare yourself to others. Like your time will come when it comes.
That's the thing, is it? It's like you have to think of your own situation. It's when you compare yourself to other people that you start like feeling depressed, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like social media. It's like seeing all these people like, I'm on holiday, I'm in this fucking Ferrari, blah blah blah. And like at that moment you're like, oh fuck off, like look at me, I don't have a fast car or a big house or whatever. But then
they never post the shit days.
Yeah,
it's
like
that's the thing,
behind the scenes they're like, oh, I hope people actually like this. It's like, but
just crying out for attention, really.
Yeah, it's like, you might not have that, but the things you do have, like, is, I guess you got to appreciate or learn to appreciate more so.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it's like you can have people that have, just come out of school, just like worked really hard, saved a load of money and got a house, but like they probably don't have the same memories that you would have had of not doing that, doing your own thing,
Yeah, I mean, like I've had a bit of a weird 10 years, I guess, if you know what I mean, of like, recovery, regression, relapse, like substance abuse issues, like, but like, I think what I'm trying to get at is like, there's the way
side.
Yeah, there's a way out, and it's like there's still so much beauty to be had, and you can recover and stuff like that, if that makes sense.
And even through the bad things of the past 10 years, there's been like so much funny, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, even
that.
amongst like some of the worst times of my life has been like funny bits that's happened in between and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's like bringing us on to like the big daddy of the album, isn't it? Like, so this song is called Dead.
No, it's called Pucker Sun.
I suppose very quickly we should go across so like this music video, like for Before the Black, didn't really go how we expected it to. So like this is the whole video is him like having my Reasons to Stay Alive list, and we had really big plans of like, we had like loads of Sharpies, and we was going to write, he's all depressed and he can't find stuff to write, and then he thinks about like how it's enough that he's just had those memories with Charlotte and Rose. It doesn't matter if they're not going to happen again, and it's like the stuff that he's learned from them, and if that makes sense. So he starts writing the list, and we were originally going to have it that he's written so much that he's like written all over the walls and stuff like that. But the days that we had filming with the actors got like switched round, so that couldn't be the last thing that we filmed, and the only way it would work is if it was, so we couldn't do it in the end. But but it's still, like, it's great, like really looks cool still, like he's got a good performance in it. But yeah, that's just to give what that video was about.
My partner, when she saw the video, she's like, I just watched like 4 minutes of some guy smiling. Like, yeah, I guess you did.
He's a happy guy at the moment.
For now.
Matt's been through some stuff. Okay. Yeah, so like Dead is the last song on the album, boys. We made it. Pucker Sunch. Where did Pucker Sunch go? It's just Sucker Punch backwards, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we was going like, we was trying to think of a name. We was going like Pucker, and then he was like Pucker Sunch. Like, okay,
it's literally just Sucker Punch, but with the first letters swap round.
Just because it's the last song on the album, can we have like honourable mentions of like the other best working titles that we've had?
Oh, that's a good
Costa Ulrika Johnson.
Costa Ulrika Johnson's a good one.
one. Hang on a sec, I've got to find.
Butt Cataracts.
Butt
Oh yeah,
Cataracts.
but
Sweaty Vampires.
yeah. Paul Scholes' dick.
Do you know what? It's a new one that we haven't actually written yet, but on the little list that we've got, one of them is Bad Smelly.
Bad Smelly.
I don't know how Bad Smelly really makes me laugh.
The squirt gun reminds me of you.
Oh, yeah. I think that came. You were spraying me with a little squirt gun at a party once. I think that's
Oh,
what it-
yeah, sure.
Continuous fart shit.
Continuous fart. shit.
Hydrogen sack.
the hydrogen sack. Yeah, that was a fun experience watching
The
that alien
humane
programme.
centipede.
For fuck's sake. Well, yeah, that's
That's a few of them.
a window into the world of us being fucking stupid. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, like, this is another song that took a while. I think would we say, like, to get right.
I found it today actually, the original acoustic demo track that you sent to us.
Is it painfully slow? Is it?
It's very slow in comparison.
Even the first band recording is slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like really chilled. And yeah.
It's like a very, very different BPM
Yeah.
from then to now.
Well, it changed a lot because at one point it was faster than it is now. Because I remember we done it in practice. I'd gone home, written a part, and I come in the next week and I couldn't play it. I'm like, why can't I play it? It's like, because you fucking sped it up again.
Whoops.
Whoopsie doodle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it was quite a brave choice, I think. Like, so obviously this is never going to be a big single because it's 8 minutes long. But I can't remember how it came about that, like, it was just one long song. Was it like we wanted an outro for the album? And
Yeah,
then
we had the first part of the song written for like ages
A good
before.
year,
Yeah.
I think. And then it came to like we'd arranged to go to the studio, and we'd looked at the track list, and it was like, yeah, we've got 8 songs. Can we come up with a 9th one? And then we'd had a song in the back burner for like 8 years, and it's like, oh, by the way, this is in the same key. We can like smash them together and just make like
yeah, because
7-8
from my
minutes.
memory that was just like a jam that we'd had years and years ago, and it was
A
just like
one-off.
a big build up, wasn't it, to like a
Yeah.
big crescendo-y sort of thing. And I don't know if this is right. In my memory, we wasn't happy with how the album ended originally,
no.
because it was just like, but soon I'll be awake, and that was just
And
the
that's it.
album done. So I think we wanted, like, I don't think we'd kind of,
It's like I can't think of the word, but like a reprise almost. Like,
yeah, I think it was like,
that's the wrong word. But
I think for me personally as well, I hadn't said everything I wanted to say on the album as well, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess this was really fun recording this, because obviously it's heavier and stuff. So like all the guitars are like cranked up, and we double tracked everything, and
I
like
got to do my backwards loop pedal stuff
Oh,
in
that's
the
so
middle.
good. Yeah.
oh, so just to say, like, this is the bridge
Yeah.
of the first bit of the song is just you fucking about with your pedals.
Pretty
isn't it?
much. Yeah. It's just
it's
like
just there on the floor,
I'm
like
just knelt down like fiddling. Yeah. So I
So
kind of
do you play a note or anything like
I
that?
kind of like I play a chord, like loop it, and then on the Memory Man Electro Harmonics, shout out, good pedals. You can like slow the loop down and then change the speed, so it's kind of like a car revving. It goes, and then you speed it up. It's like,
Oh, okay,
it's kind
okay.
of like a build-up thing like that. You can also like reverse it, which is fun too, because everything sounds cool in reverse. So yeah, it's just fucking around with the delay pedal.
'Cause we
loop
didn't
pedal.
have that for quite some time. I think there's another lockdown thing.
Yeah,
that
I think
happened.
it was another bit where there was like a gap, and it was like, right, it needs something here.
It's like,
And I was thinking of doing like another guitar solo part, and I was like, actually, this sounds really cool. I'm just gonna do.
yeah, because it's like, let's have some. The bass comes in, and then it's like, you're just like, oh, okay, let's put some
Yeah.
fucking layers on.
It's my little tribute to Minus the Bear, who's one of my favourite bands. But yeah, they do a lot with loop pedals and reversing and playing different loops at different times.
I
so,
think
yeah, my tribute to them.
Nice.
just after that bit, or sorry, just was it before that bit? Before the back, I think it's my favourite song on the album, but my favourite bit
Oh,
on the entire album is
Oh.
Dan's distorted bass tone in this song. I don't know what you like. I don't know what you think. It's
Yeah,
just when that kicks in, it's just like, oh,
it's gnarly, isn't it?
it's so.
I
just
think
when
because
that kicks in.
not that I'm like a typical lazy bass player, but I don't change my strings enough. So to go into the studio, like change strings, distortion cranked up, like more than I could get away with normally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was this part. I remember like when we recorded it, I played it to my parents because they love all our stuff, and my mum goes, "It sounds like your strings are really thick." I was like, "Well, they are." She's like, "No, but they're like really thick."
Yeah.
And I think that sums up that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's just gnarly. It's like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just that whole song for me. I don't know if it's because it's like the end of the album, but my part's a bit mad. I just put everything into that
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and like I use all my pedals. I change tuning halfway through the song. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, just do it.
Definitely the possibly like one of the heaviest or the heaviest song we've ever written so
Yeah.
far.
Probably is.
Yeah.
So far, and it's like
Because it's like relentlessly heavy. Like we have songs with heavy bits, but they've got like softer bits in it. This is just not. It's just full on.
Yeah,
like,
I think-
I
apart
like how
from
it
the
still
end,
peaks and
obviously,
troughs though, because there's like little bits of like it's like take a breath and then it's like back into the.
Yeah.
it's
sort
like
of heavy
the
stuff.
first verse. I think originally when you sung it, it's like you were going for like this high tone and like really straining for it, and I was just trying to think of a way to almost make it easier on you, but also bring the whole song in. So it's like, why not just kind of go for a whispery kind of vocal on that bit? And when you did it in the studio, and it's like almost like muttering almost.
Mm.
It just all came together in that moment. It's like, yes.
I think that was another time where we had to crank the preamp right up and it was like, right, shut the fuck up, everyone. Yeah, because that was like so soft though. It was almost like hard to do, if you know what I mean. But I think that's why it's like double tracks and stuff, because it was so weak that you have to kind of like get a couple of them in there. So
Yeah. It's almost like you're drained from the album. It's like all you've got left.
and then I start charging the spirit bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I get like that. Obviously, that's I love that song. I will say actually, when I went back, because I changed a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, because I did like an extended note after the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Where I go, and nobody's
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And Jack was like, "Do you want to just see how long of a note you can do?" And I did
Yeah.
some of like varying lengths. I don't know what one. I don't think that was the longest one that he chose. But it was probably the one where I was like, not going,
Yeah.
just like running out of breath. But that was hard.
Sounds awesome though. It was worth it.
Yeah. So like, I guess I don't know if you want to go through that bit of the song first and then do the outro, or do you want to do it all as one? So
Yeah,
so the first bit of Puckersunch or Dead as it's called now, it was written about like I've always liked sort of dabbled with like like black metal bands and stuff. Like I'm not dipped my toes into black metal. I don't really know a lot about it, but I like some of the music. And I watched a film about Mayhem.
Mayhem. Yeah.
It was like one of the original sort of
Swedish.
or
Swedish black metal, I think.
yeah. Or, I think they're from Norway. I think, and then like the actual Dead is from Sweden. I think from it. So yeah, their singer was the like guy called Dead, and he ended up killing himself. And in his suicide note, he wrote like, "I don't feel like I'm alive. I feel like I'm a corpse," sort of thing, and I'm returning myself to the ground. And when I read that, I don't identify with that because he's like got quite a lot of problems. That's quite quite an intense thing to feel like you're not alive.
Because I think he did die.
Yeah,
He shot it,
he
didn't
shot himself. But
No, he died when he was younger. He had like an accident, and then he was brought back.
oh, so it's like a swimming accident, if I remember right.
yeah,
isn't it?
and then he comes back, but where he was brought back, that's why he felt like a corpse, because
Yeah.
he had already died once.
Yeah, so like I didn't identify with that bit as such, but what I did identify with is like just feeling different. Like my whole life I've felt like some other thing that's not a normal person, if you know what I mean. I've never like I find it quite hard to like fit in and like make normal conversation and stuff. And I don't know whether that's a bit like neurodivergent or something like that, but
You're just a nerd.
yeah, that's it. But yeah, so that's that bit of the song. It's just about how I felt. There's got something is wrong with me, and I've never felt normal. I guess there's that. And that gets us to the outro, I suppose, which doesn't have a name. It's all just dead, I suppose, isn't it?
Dead Part 2.
The Black Heart.
I mean, I don't want to go over
Summary.
too much for the last video because it's quite obviously distressing. But the last video is obviously Matt going with the plague doctor and sort of succumbing to his mental health issues. If I don't want to say any more than that, I guess, but that's kind of a weird thing for me because the outro of this song is me like just letting everything out, I suppose, if that makes sense. So it's quite. I'd written it because I wasn't sure what to do over it, whether we just kind of have an instrumental, and then I was like, how about a spoken word thing? So I ended up writing that, and I think it was quite hard for me to do in the studio. It was a bit of a weird fact. I only actually did it twice because I stumbled on my words the first time, and then the second time I couldn't do it again. So if you listen carefully, I actually fumble over my words a couple of times. But it's all real sort of thing. But like,
I think me and Dan were sat whilst you were doing it. The first time it was just like
we'd never heard it. Like
no,
we knew there'd like been talk of this spoken word bit. Never heard it, never seen it written down. Like, what's this going to be like?
And then it's just
and
like,
it was like,
devastating.
oh, okay then.
It's like just in the room. It's like, oh, where do I look? Like, should I look at something? No, I feel too fucking sad. Like, I got to busy myself. What are we doing?
I think we all like had a bit of a cry after
It was
that.
an emotional moment in the studio.
The funny thing about the after this is such a weird because this whole album's been such a cathartic experience. I know it doesn't sound like it because it's so dark, the album, but the whole thing's been so cathartic and healing for me. It's like I almost had this like shit, like bile and pus I had to get out of me. If you know what I mean? That's how it feels to me. And after doing that, I'd not cried in like 5 years or 4 years. As I finished that and just broke down. And I think Liam had to come sort of sort me out for a while because I was really like throwing a wobbly outside.
And you set me off as well. I started crying as well. So I was like, this isn't helping. Now we're both sad. But no, it was we had a nice hug. I remember.
It just feels like it's a weird thing to say, but it's like it felt like something I had to get out. And I guess it's just it's just about that. It's just about like how all the shit I've been through, how I don't feel right, how these 5 years have got away from me, and I want that back, and I'm not going to get it. But
it's a good way to get it all out through, just through recording something.
Yeah, well, the whole Black Heart
on an album, on a recording.
Yeah, the whole Black Heart thing is like where I myself had Black Heart because I found it hard to make new friends, like let people in because I was so jaded and like full of fucking piss and vinegar because I was so damaged and hurt that I found it really hard to let people in, and I was like not able to love my partner, as fully as she deserves because I was just so scared of letting her in and stuff like that. So that was very cathartic to me just to let all that out, and that was like the starting of my. Because I think like from May 2021, I think from when we recorded that from that day is pretty much when I started healing. I feel like it's just something I had to say and get out.
Yeah.
Nice.
And now I'm obviously in a better place, I guess. I mean, like that's it, I suppose, isn't it, boys? That's the album. That's the.
Got the I got my 2 vocals.
Oh, of course, yeah. So yeah, do you want to? So Hayden comes to me. He's like, "Can I do a scream on this song?"
So good.
And I was like, after that bit, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds weird." I thought he was going to do like a sort of thing. It's just like a lady getting stabbed scream. So
it's not what I expected it.
Did you expect to come out like a?
I thought it was going to be like some kind of like really cool Chester Bennington kind of deal, and it just like. I don't know why I'm good at like a lemon grab kind of pterodactyl squeal, but I was just like, just chucked everything into it that I could, and it came out like a female getting murdered. It's like I think
purple drapes,
purple drapes. Ah! It's like I think I was like strained so much that all of my rib cage muscles just like spasmed after I did it. It's like I had to sit down and I think the same with Before the Black. There's like a cheeky little scream in there, and I think I did it once, and like Jack just turned around and he's like, "Nice, yes, I fucking made it."
You got Jack's nod of approval.
Yeah.
That's all we want, really, isn't
That's
it?
all- that's it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we better start wrapping up because we're going to get kicked out of the studio pretty soon.
10 minutes left.
Okay, yeah, so let's start.
Rapping.
So I just want to say, like,
You
thank
guys
so
suck.
much, boys. Like, it's been, I think we can all say it's been quite hard, isn't it? Like, it's doing what we've done and releasing all the music videos and stuff. But obviously, like, there's been such a fantastic experience sharing it with you all, and like,
Yeah.
I think I'm so proud of what we've achieved, and just excited to see what comes next now, I suppose.
It was always one of my goals when I was learning guitar when I was younger, just to like have an album. Like, I don't know, it's just a thing that I always wanted to do, and now it's there. Like,
We're in a
really
funny
happy
place
with
now
that,
where it's
yeah.
actually about to come out as well, and it's almost finished with 2 years of work, and it's almost here.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
Almost
thing.
there, yeah.
yeah. So like I've done like EPs in other bands. Obviously, we had an EP before, but like a whole album. That's just like ticked off the bucket list. Done that one. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
suppose
I'm well happy with that.
if I could just like, I don't want to speak directly to the camera because I don't want to turn around and. But if I could just, what I would say to people is this album is, as we've kind of touched on already, it's so dark, and it's so kind of triggering to a lot of people, I'd imagine. But what I would like to, if people were watching this, to take away is that I have been to like some of the worst mental places you can go to, if you know what I mean, where I've considered suicide, and and started making sort of plans, I guess, and stuff like that. And I just think what I want people to take away from this album is, as dark as it gets, there is a way out, and you need to go and get help, and you need to speak to people and speak to your friends. I don't know, I hear people suffering like this, and I just want to say, like, come on, we can do it. Like, if I can do it, and I've been there, you can do it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And it's like, just live for the little things in life. Like at music festival this year, when I was watching the Wonder Years, I cried because I was like, I'm enjoying this so much, and I could be fucking dead if I'd made a different decision, sort of thing. And it's like, just do whatever you have to get through it. Like, live out of spite if you have to, because that's that's what I'm going to do, sort of thing. That's, I will live every day to the fullest and enjoy stuff, just to show that fucking whatever's in my head that, fuck you, I did it in the end. The Plague Doctor sort of thing. Like, fuck, I made it and you didn't get me. And just, I just want to say to everyone who's been involved, like, to my beautiful friends and best friends in the world, like, thank you for helping me so much. Just been sort of pivotal in my recovery, and I am actually in a recovery and better place now, sort of thing. So,
Well done.
sad album, but I'd like to think we're finishing on a happy note where I'm still here, still kicking, and the album's coming out, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just wait
Black
for
Heart.
that sweet deluxe edition. Extra songs.
But yeah, just to say, like, thank you. I love you all so much, and it's been like such a fantastic experience to
I
be
love
in
you,
Palps.
Dr. Zayas.
Should we hug it out for the end?
Okay.
Oh. ASMR hug. Wait. We're coming in for an ASMR.
Oh, we got the mic in there. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is good shit.
We do
This
like
reminds
a
Big
we
gay
do like
bear
a
experience.
we do like a turn to the camera, like like the end of a play.
About which one? This one?
Both of them. Oh, and can I be like, the bad guy who's like walks on stage and he's like.